Chapter 997. Of course. Qin Haodong said without hesitation. That's impossible. It's impossible. We can't cure the disease. How can you say you can cure it? Ling Huchao was the first to jump out. The old man had always been very conceited. He thought that if he couldn't cure the disease, others couldn't either. Su Nanzhong followed and said, I think so. Let's not talk about your medical skills. I'm afraid you can't find the blood of an 8th grade magical beast with fire property. Qin Haodong said, You people are really ignorant. You always measure others with your own eyes. Butler Li ignored those people and said eagerly, Little magic doctor, please treat the president now. Ling Huchao cried, Butler Li, don't be fooled by this little liar. Dr. Su is right. Apart from medical skills, he can't even find the blood of an 8th grade magical beast with fire property. He was talking incessantly. Suddenly, with a bang, a huge fiery red magical beast appeared in front of him. It was the flame golden-eyed beast. As an 8th grade magical beast, the appearance of the flame golden-eyed beast brought a fiery aura. Ling Huchao was caught off guard, and his beard was set on fire. He quickly stepped back and clumsily put out the flames on his beard. Then he looked at the big guy in front of him in disbelief. This is the flame golden-eyed beast? Oh my god, this guy really got a 8th grade magical beast with fire property. How is that possible? 8th grade magical beasts already have some spiritual wisdom. They have always been very arrogant, and generally won't bow to their master. How did he find it? Qin Haodong's wife was a master in the Desheng stage, which was already very surprising. Now he had summoned an 8th grade magical beast with fire property, which completely refreshed everyone's cognition. To some extent, 8th grade magical beasts were rarer than masters in the Desheng stage. Su Nanzhong was even more shocked. He said with a shocked face, Impossible, it's impossible. Qin Haodong smiled slightly and said, It seems that Dr. Su still doesn't believe me. Then I'll make you believe me completely. Then he moved his mind again, and summoned another flame golden-eyed beast from the spirit beast bag. It suddenly appeared in front of Su Nanzhong. This time, the distance was even closer. Not only was Su Nanzhong's beard ignited, even his clothes were emitting black smoke. This made him look even more wretched than Ling Huchao. It took him a long time to put out the flames on his body. Everyone was so shocked that their mouths were agape. They had said that it was impossible to get the blood of an 8th tier fire-attributed magical beast. But in the end, he had gotten 2 of them at once. At this moment, another doctor stepped forward and said, So what if you found an 8th rank fire attribute magical beast? Can it let you take blood? You must know that Class 8 magical beasts are extremely high level. Even if you sign an equal contract with them, they won't let you harm them. It wasn't that this person was ignorant. It was because it was already very impressive for an ordinary cultivator to be able to sign an equal symbiotic contract with an 8th rank magical beast. No one had ever dared to think that they could sign a master-servant contract with such a huge difference in rank. Qin Haodong didn't say anything. He turned to the male flame golden-eyed beast and said, I need some blood. You're a man, so I'll take it from you. Holy sh*t, he even brought this. Isn't he courting death? Hearing what he said, everyone stepped back. They were afraid that the flame golden-eyed beast would burn them if it went crazy. But to everyone's surprise, the flame golden-eyed beast didn't show any dissatisfaction. On the contrary, it obediently stretched out its huge hoof, like a child waiting for blood. Qin Haodong first took out a glass bottle, and then cut a small cut on the flame golden-eyed beast's hoof with the Xian Yuan sword. He took a small amount of blood and stopped the bleeding. Then he put it back into the spiritual beast bag. Seeing what he did, everyone was speechless. Not to mention whether he could cure the disease. They couldn't just take the blood of an 8th rank fire attribute magical beast. Qin Haodong ignored these people. He came to the bed with the blood of the flame golden-eyed beast, and removed all the clothes and quilts from Lu Xiaoyao's body. He poured out half of the flame golden-eyed beast's blood in his hand. The energy of the 8th rank magical beast's blood was extremely strong. After it was poured out, it was like glue. He fed half of the blood to Lu Xiaoyao, and then poured out the remaining half. He rubbed it gently in his palm, and the blood instantly turned into a cloud of blood mist. This cloud of blood mist covered the surface of Lu Xiaoyao's body, as if it had a spirit, and then slowly seeped in. The fire attribute of the flame golden-eyed beast's blood was extremely strong. Now that it was taken orally and applied externally at the same time, Lu Xiaoyao soon showed obvious changes. The ice shell covering his body quickly melted, and his originally livid face slowly recovered its color. Even the surrounding temperature seemed to have risen by a few degrees. "My young friend, thank you." Lu Xiaoyao, who had been lying on the bed, finally spoke. Although his injury had not healed, he had gotten rid of the cold, so he already had some strength. The happiest person was of course Butler Li. He knew his identity very well. With Lu Xiaoyao around, he could have unlimited glory as a butler. Once Lu Xiaoyao died, he would lose everything. He had always tried his best to cure Lu Xiaoyao's illness. He said excitedly, "Little magic doctor, has the president recovered?" "It's still a long way off." Seeing Qin Haodong's trick, Ling Huchao's heart was filled with envy, jealousy and hatred. He said, "Getting rid of the cold is only the first step, but the president's meridians have been seriously damaged by the cold. If it can't be repaired, even if he survives, he will only be a useless person." Su Nanzhong said, "Senior Ling Hu is right. According to my diagnosis just now, the meridians in President Lu's body are seriously damaged. It's very difficult to recover from this kind of injury. I'm afraid only the legendary rejuvenating acupuncture can do it." Ling Huchao said, "But as far as I know, this kind of acupuncture has been lost for thousands of years, and no one can do it now. So President Lu's illness can't be cured by me, and no one else can." After that, his old face showed a touch of relief, as if this kind of illness couldn't be cured by himself, and no one else could cure it, which was the best result. Qin Haodong completely ignored these people who talked big. He came to Lu Xiaoyao's bed, took out his needle bag, and began to treat the disease with acupuncture. Ling Huchao's expression changed greatly, and he shouted, "Boy, what are you doing? Didn't you hear what I just said? Except for the rejuvenating acupuncture, no other methods can be used. It will only aggravate President Lu's injury." Su Nanzhong also said coldly, "You will only hurt President Lu if you act recklessly like this. Stop it now." The others shouted one after another, "Stewardly, stop him quickly. You will hurt President Lu." Hearing the noise around him, Stewardly also hesitated. He didn't know whether to believe these people or Qin Haodong. But at this moment, Ling Huchao stood there with a dull look. His eyes were fixed on Qin Haodong's hand as if he were possessed. He murmured, This, is this the legendary rejuvenating acupuncture?" Su Nanzhong, who was the closest to him, said, "Impossible. How is this possible? The rejuvenating acupuncture has been lost for thousands of years. How could a young boy like him know this kind of acupuncture that defies the natural order?" The others echoed him. No one thought that Qin Haodong could know this legendary acupuncture. Ling Huchao circled around Qin Haodong 3 times. After repeated confirmation, he shouted excitedly, "It's really the rejuvenating acupuncture. I didn't see it wrong. I didn't expect that I would be lucky to see the rejuvenating acupuncture after living for so long. My life is really worthwhile." Among the doctors, Ling Huchao was undoubtedly the most respected one. Seeing that he was so sure, everyone put down their postures and began to pay attention to Qin Haodong's acupuncture. But before they could see it clearly, Qin Haodong had finished the acupuncture. Stewardly nervously stepped forward and asked, "Little magic doctor, how is my president's illness?" Qin Haodong said, "It's nothing. He will be fine in a while." Then, none of the doctors next to them spoke, and no one made any sarcastic remarks. If the young man in front of them was really proficient in the rejuvenating acupuncture, he was definitely not someone they could provoke. About 10 minutes later, Qin Haodong took back all the silver needles. Then he patted Lu Xiaoyao's chest with his palm and helped him relax his stiff limbs with greenwood genuine qi. "Okay, get up." As soon as he finished speaking, Lu Xiaoyao, who was just dying, really sat up from the bed. He looked 100 times more energetic and had completely restored the demeanor of a master of the Desheng stage. My God, President Lu is really cured. It seems that this little brother really used the rejuvenating acupuncture. Otherwise it would be impossible to cure such a serious injury. Frogs at the bottom of a well. It seems that we were really short-sighted before. This little brother is not an ordinary person. The doctors present were extremely shocked. They said that they could not get the blood of the 8th-ranked magical beast of the fire attribute. But he directly summoned 2. They said that the rejuvenating acupuncture had been lost. But he had already used this set of acupuncture to cure Lu Xiaoyao's injury. In their opinion, it was impossible at all. But he had done it with the raise of his hand. In the midst of many discussions, Ling Huchao was sluggish for a moment. Then he strode in front of Qin Haodong and bowed deeply. Little magic doctor, I have studied medicine for many years, but there is too much difference between me and you. I am indeed a waste. I have offended you before, please forgive me, little magic doctor. What's going on? The doctors around were stunned, and their eyeballs fell to the ground. Although today's shock was greater than the previous one, they still couldn't accept it. Ling Huchao, a leading figure in the medical world, publicly claimed that he was a waste and bowed his head to apologize to a young man. No one would believe it if they said it. Qin Haodong didn't care about these things. What he cared about was the reward of 10 low-grade immortal crystals. He waved his hand and said, "Let bygones be bygones. It's good to know that there is always someone better than you in the future." Yes. You are right, little magic doctor. In this world, some people were crazy about martial arts, some were crazy about love, and Ling Huchao was a complete medical fanatic. The reason why he was arrogant before was that he looked down on Qin Haodong's medical skills. Once he found that Qin Haodong's medical skills surpassed his own, his attitude immediately became extremely respectful, like a humble primary school student asking for advice. Little magic doctor, I have a presumptuous request. I don't know if I should say it or not. Qin Haodong said, "You know it's a presumptuous request, so don't say it." Ling Huchao's old face turned red. He said with a red face, "Little magic doctor, no matter what I have to say it. I want to worship you as my master and learn the rejuvenating acupuncture. I don't know if you can agree to it." Chapter 998. Qin Haodong waved his hand and said, "Forget it. I don't want to accept an old apprentice like you, and I don't have time to teach you." Ling Huchao's face flashed with disappointment. At this time, Su Nanzhong stepped forward and said, "Little magic doctor, I'm relatively young. I wonder if you can accept me as your apprentice?" He also put down his pride. There was no other way. The temptation of the rejuvenative acupuncture was too strong for a doctor. No, you're too old. Qin Haodong didn't want to be followed by a group of old men wherever he went. Well, Su Nanzhong was young among many famous doctors. Even he couldn't do it, so the others were extremely disappointed. But at this moment Qin Haodong said, "It's just the rejuvenative acupuncture. You can use it if you want. I can also teach you without being your apprentice." As a doctor, he would never be selfish. When he was on Earth, because other people didn't have genuine qi, they couldn't practice the rejuvenative acupuncture with qi. But it was different here. Every doctor was a cultivator, so it was suitable for them to learn this set of acupuncture. The more people who knew it, the more patients they could save. This was a good thing with boundless merit. With a thought, a needle book of the rejuvenative acupuncture appeared in his palm. He raised his hand and threw it to Ling Huchao. "Take it, old man. Don't hide it when you go back. Everyone can learn it. The more people you save, the better." Ling Huchao held the needle book in his hand and couldn't believe it was true. Generally speaking, no matter who got this kind of amazing acupuncture, they would treat it as a secret and wouldn't easily pass it on to others. Unexpectedly, the young man in front of them threw it out like throwing garbage. His generosity was beyond everyone's understanding. "Little magic doctor, this set of acupuncture is passed on to me just like this?" The old man's hands were trembling, and he still couldn't believe it. "It's not passed on to you. Anyone can learn it if they want. Not only everyone here, but also any doctor in the Lingwu continent can learn it. We doctors treat patients and save people. The more people who learn this set of acupuncture, the more patients we can save. Little divine doctor, I thank you on behalf of all the people in the world. Ling Hu Chao held the acupuncture manual in his hand and fell to his knees with a thud. Little divine doctor, I really admire your magnanimity and magnanimity. Whether you admit it or not, I, Ling Hu Chao, will treat you like a disciple in the future. That's right, little divine doctor. In the future, when I Su Nanzhong see you, I will also treat you like a disciple. Me too. Little miracle doctor will be my teacher from now on. For a moment, these old men shook their gray beards, knelt on the ground, and kept kowtowing to Qin Haodong. All right. If there's nothing else, you guys can leave. Qin Haodong waved his hand. Ling Hu Chao left Lu Xiaoyao's mansion with a group of old men in excitement. After they left, Lu Xiaoyao said to Qin Haodong again, Little magic doctor, thank you for saving my life this time. I can't say that I'm loyal. As a doctor, it's my duty to treat patients and save people. You still have to pay for the consultation fees. What Qin Haodong wanted most now were the 10 low-grade immortal crystals. After all, they were good things that could help him improve his cultivation. It's my duty. Lu Xiaoyao turned his head and said to Steward Li, Hurry up and bring all the low-grade immortal crystals in our mansion. Steward Li turned around and left. Soon he came back with an exquisite box. Lu Xiaoyao took the box and gave it to Qin Haodong. He said, Little brother, I've accumulated 15 immortal crystals over the years. Now I'll give them all to you. The reason why he was so generous was that he was really grateful to Qin Haodong. Secondly, he wanted to make friends with this young man with extraordinary medical skills. There were two kinds of people with the highest status in the Lingwu continent. One was an alchemist who could help people improve their cultivation, and the other was a doctor who could help people save their lives. No one was willing to miss the opportunity to make friends with a doctor, especially Lu Xiaoyao, who had been on the edge of life and death for a long time. He knew the value of a good doctor. Then I thank you, President Lu. Qin Haodong took the box excitedly. After opening it, there were indeed 15 low-grade immortal crystals in it. Together with the low-grade immortal crystal in his hand, there were a total of 16. He could try to break through the bottleneck of the Mahayana stage. He suddenly gave 5 low-grade immortal crystals, which made him have a good impression of the old man in front of him. He took out a dragon power pill and said, There is no such thing as an undeserved reward. This pill might be of some use to improve your cultivation. Although the dragon power pill couldn't improve the cultivation of a Mahayana stage powerhouse, it was still very beneficial for cultivation. This is the dragon power pill. As an 8th grade alchemist, Lu Xiaoyao naturally recognized the dragon power pill. He said, This is a good thing. I wanted to make a furnace of it before, but unfortunately, I couldn't find the dragon saliva. Where did the little miracle doctor get it from? I happen to have a spiritual beast with the bloodline of the dragon clan. So I refined this cauldron of pills. Lu Xiaoyao revealed a shocked expression. I really didn't expect that the little miracle doctor was already a 7th grade alchemist at such a young age. Heroes really come from the young. Qin Haodong didn't want to continue this topic. He asked, President Lu, what happened to your injuries? It's a long story. The little miracle doctor is my savior. I won't hide it from you. My injuries were caused by people from the Ghost King sect. Hearing that it was related to the Ghost King sect, Qin Haodong asked, President Lu, did you have a feud with the Ghost King sect? It's not a feud, but they wanted to steal something from me. Qin Haodong's heart moved. He asked, President Lu, don't tell me you also have a black demon bead? Lu Xiaoyao asked in surprise. The little miracle doctor also knows about the black demon bead? Qin Haodong nodded and said, I happen to hear some legends about the black demon bead. Lu Xiaoyao said, Since the little miracle doctor also knows about it, then I'll be straightforward. My ancestors were from one of the 7 major families, and I happen to have a black demon bead that was passed down from my ancestors. Originally, this matter was extremely secretive. Even in my family, no one knew about it except for me. But I don't know how the Ghost King sect found out about it. When I went out to pick herbs a few days ago, I was attacked by the 5th elder and the 6th elder of the Ghost King sect, and I was injured like this. The 5th elder injured me with his ice palm, in order to force me to hand over the black demon bead. For the common people of the Lingwu continent, I didn't give in. Easyway asked, "Then how did you escape?" Lu Xiaoyao said, "The Ghost King sect is powerful. The 5th elder and the 6th elder are both cultivators at the Desheng stage. I was seriously injured, so how could I escape? They let me come back." The people of the Ghost King sect naturally didn't have good intentions. The 5th elder thought that his ice palm was incurable, so his purpose was to make me despair and finally hand over the black demon bead. Unfortunately, they miscalculated. They didn't expect that there would be a miracle doctor like you in the world who cured my injury. Qin Haodong said, "Today is the 10th day, right?" Lu Xiaoyao said, "That's right. According to the agreement, it's today. I think the people of the Ghost King sect will be here soon. Little miracle doctor, I'm grateful to you for saving my life. I don't want you to get involved in this mess. You'd better leave." Qin Haodong said, "President Lu, what are your chances of winning against the people of the Ghost King sect?" "To be honest, I don't even have a 10% chance of winning. The 5th elder and the 6th elder of the Ghost King sect are both at the early stage of the Desheng stage, which is about the same as me. I can barely deal with one of them, but I have no chance of winning against two of them. However, the Ghost King sect is a threat to the world, and the black demon bead is something passed down from my ancestors that must be protected. I won't give it to them even if I die." A trace of loneliness flashed across Lu Xiaoyao's face. If it was on a normal day, I could still invite some friends in Jianghu to help, but it's too late now. So little miracle doctor, you should leave quickly. The people of the Ghost King sect have always been cruel and merciless. They won't let you go. Qin Haodong had a good impression of this old man, and he just took 5 more low-grade immortal crystals from him, so he decided to help him get through this difficulty. "President Lu, we have nowhere to go tonight. Let's stay in your house. If the people of the Ghost King sect come, we may be able to help." Lu Xiaoyao said, "Little miracle doctor, I appreciate your kindness, but I really can't. The Ghost King sect is too strong. You'd better leave as soon as possible." As he spoke, there was a sudden commotion outside the room, followed by roars, curses, and fighting sounds. However, the commotion soon ended, and then a low voice sounded in the whole house. "Old man Lu, you're not dead yet, right? The 10-day deadline is up. Hurry up and hand over the black demon bead." Lu Xiaoyao said with annoyance, "Little miracle doctor, it's too late for you to leave now. Remember what I said. Stay in the room and don't go out. Leave everything to me." After that, he rushed out with Steward Li and the others. Niu Tsuehua said, "Husband, do you want me to drive these people away?" Qin Haodong said, "This time is different from the last time. Even if you drive them away now, they will definitely come to trouble President Lu in the future." Niu Tsuehua said, "What do you want to do?" Qin Haodong said, "Do you mind if I kill these people of the Ghost King sect?" No matter what, Niu Tsuehua was the first elder of the Ghost King sect, so he had to consider her feelings before doing anything. Niu Tsuehua shook her head and said, "The Ghost King sect has always respected the strong, and there is no friendship between them. And these people wear masks all day long. I don't even know what they look like. If they die, they die. It has nothing to do with me." What she said was true. There were only 2 men in the world who could make her care. One was the man she loved the most, and the other was her brother, Li Tianxing, the master of the Ghost King sect. Qin Haodong was worried that Niu Tsuehua would object, but he was immediately relieved after hearing what she said. "Since you don't object, then I'll kill all these people to avoid future troubles." Niu Tsuehua said, "Since you want to kill them, I'll do it for you." She was now at the middle stage of the Desheng realm, so it was not difficult for her to kill these 2 elders at the early stage of the Desheng realm. "Forget it, I'll do it myself." No matter what, Niu Tsuehua was the first elder of the Ghost King sect. Qin Haodong didn't want her to deal with the people of the Ghost King sect, unless it was absolutely necessary. After that, the 3 of them went to the window and looked outside. There were dozens of men in black standing in the courtyard outside the window, and the 2 leaders were wearing golden masks. One of them had 5 golden skulls embroidered on his cuffs, and the other had 6 golden skulls. They were the fifth and sixth elders of the Ghost King sect. At the same time, the guards, who had been heavily guarded, were either killed or injured, and there was a lot of wailing. This time, the people of the Ghost King sect were basically masters above the form synthesis stage, especially the two leading elders, who had reached the Deshang stage. The difference in strength between the two sides was too great. After Lu Xiaoyao came out, he said angrily to the people of the Ghost King sect, "Stop." Chapter 999. The fifth and sixth elders were stunned when they saw Lu Xiaoyao. The fifth elder shouted, "Old man Lu, you're fine?" He was extremely confident in his ice palm. Even if Lu Xiaoyao did not die, he should be half dead. Why did he look fine now? Lu Xiaoyao sneered, "I'm very tough. Even if you die, I won't die." The fifth elder said with a gloomy expression, "Lu Xiaoyao, even if you find someone to cure the cold poison of the ice palm, so what? As long as the Ghost King sect wants you dead, we can kill you at any time." The sixth elder followed and said, "Yes, if you want to live, hand over the black demon bead now or you'll die." Lu Xiaoyao said, "I've already said that I don't know what the black demon bead is." The fifth elder gritted his teeth and said, "Old man, you really won't shed a tear until you see the coffin. This time, I'll directly cut off your limbs and pick out your tendons. Let's see how arrogant you can be." After that, he moved and struck at Lu Xiaoyao with his palm. As a master of the Deshang stage, he could attract the qi of heaven and earth with just a lift of his hand. Coupled with his unique ice palm, the temperature in the entire courtyard seemed to drop by a few degrees. There were faint snowflakes floating in the air, which showed the strong coldness. Lu Xiaoyao knew that there was no way to retreat, so he also shouted and waved his palm to meet the attack. The two of them fought. After he reached the Deshang stage, he focused on refining elixirs, so his cultivation had not improved much, and had been stagnant at the early stage of the Deshang stage for many years. The two of them were equal in power, and were locked in a fight for a while. The sixth elder seemed to have lost his patience and shouted, "Old man Lu, I'll let you have a taste of ice and fire." After he finished speaking, he attacked Lu Xiaoyao from behind. Caretaker Li wanted to help, but unfortunately, his cultivation was too low. Sixth elder merely waved his sleeves and sent him flying dozens of meters away. Caretaker Li lay on the ground and vomited blood. Fire palm. The sixth elder practiced a fire attribute cultivation method. As soon as he raised his hand, there was a raging fire, as if the air was ignited. The palm wind with a hot breath hit Lu Xiaoyao. Lu Xiaoyao could barely fight the fifth elder to a draw. If the sixth elder were to join the fray, then it would be certain death. However, at this moment, an even larger ball of flame suddenly appeared in front of the sixth elder. To be exact, it was a thick pillar of fire. It swept over like a huge fire dragon, and instantly scattered his palm wind. The sixth elder was shocked. His cultivation base had reached the Deshang stage. In addition, he was proficient in the fire attribute cultivation method. For so many years, no one had ever been able to beat him in the flame. He retreated dozens of meters in a row. After he steadied himself, he saw a huge flaming beast standing in front of him. It was the flaming golden eyes beast. At the same time, the other fiery golden eyes beast had joined Lu Xiaoyao's battle. Of course, it was to help Lu Xiaoyao attack the fifth elder. Although the fifth elder was proficient in the cold attribute cultivation method, and his cold ice palm was quite proficient, the little bit of cold air he released was useless in front of the flames of the blazing golden-eyed beast. Under the pincer attack of the man and the beast, the fifth elder was soon beaten into a mess. His clothes were burned black and purple, and even his hair was burnt off. The sixth elder didn't know where this magical beast came from. He wanted to help the fifth elder, but he was already entangled by the other fiery golden eyes beast. With his cultivation, he could barely fight the fiery golden eyes beast to a draw. He had no advantage at all. The fifth elder's situation became more and more critical. He was accidentally burned by the flames spat out by the fiery golden eyes beast. He turned around and shouted to his subordinates, "What the hell are you doing? Hurry up and attack with me." They had brought 30 men in black with them this time, and each of them was at the form synthesis stage. They agreed, and were about to attack the fiery golden eyes beast together. At the moment when the fifth elder was distracted, there was a muffled sound. A bloody hole as thick as an egg suddenly appeared on his right chest. He had been hiding in the room, waiting for an opportunity to snipe with the Barrett. The gun gave the fifth elder a fatal blow. The fifth elder was suddenly seriously injured before he figured out what was going on. Lu Xiaoyao was also a veteran. Although he was also surprised, he didn't let go of this opportunity. He immediately slapped the fifth elder's head. Last time, he was hit by the frost palm, which almost killed him. So this time, he attacked with all his strength without any mercy. With a bang, the fifth elder's head of the Ghost King sect was smashed like a rotten watermelon. Red and white matter splashed all over the ground. The fiery golden eyes beast then spat out a mouthful of flames, turning the fifth elder's body into a pile of ashes. The sixth elder was shocked. He realized that there were still masters hiding here. After the fifth elder died, his strength was reduced by half. He knew that he couldn't do anything. When he was about to escape with his subordinates, he heard two muffled sounds. His left and right kneecaps were smashed by the sniper rifle. The fiery golden eyes beast seemed to have a tacit understanding with its master. The moment Qin Haodong attacked, it raised its huge paw and stepped on the sixth elder. Then it spat out another mouthful of flames, burning the fifth elder into ashes. Seeing that the two leading elders were dead, the rest of the people of the Ghost King sect suddenly turned pale with fright. They lost the courage to continue fighting and ran away. Those who were too slow were killed by the fiery golden eyes beast's flames. After the battle, Qin Haodong walked out of the room. With a thought, he put the two fiery golden eyes beasts back into the spirit beast bag. Lu Xiaoyao wiped the sweat on his forehead. This time he had a narrow escape. Knowing that Qin Haodong had helped him, he came over and said gratefully, "Little magic doctor, thank you for your help. Otherwise, we would have been finished." "You're welcome, President Lu. It's nothing." Suddenly, Qin Haodong's expression changed. His eyes fell on the pile of ashes that the fifth elder had been burned into. The flames spat out by the fiery golden eyes beast were extremely hot. They had almost reached the realm of congenital fire. After being burned, everything turned into ashes. Even the bones had been turned into powder. A breeze blew, and the small amount of black ashes also scattered in the air, leaving only a black bead. He was very familiar with this bead. It was the black demon bead. It seemed that before they attacked Lu Xiaoyao, the fifth elder and the sixth elder had obtained a black demon bead from somewhere else. They had left it behind after being burned to death. Qin Haodong went over and picked up the black demon bead. It was indeed strange. It felt cold to the touch, and there were no signs of it being burned. No wonder the seven great families could not destroy it no matter how hard they tried. It was indeed impervious to fire and water. Lu Xiaoyao came over and said, "It seems that this black demon bead was snatched from somewhere else by the Ghost King sect. Fortunately, it fell into the hands of the little magic doctor. If it fell into the hands of these harmful things, who knows what kind of heartless things they would do." Qin Haodong put the black demon bead away. "I'll keep it. As long as I'm here, the Ghost King sect will definitely not be able to get it." He was indeed confident. If he put the black demon bead in the seventh stage pagoda, no one would be able to snatch it away, unless he took it out himself. I didn't expect the little magic doctor to not only have superb medical skills, but also have such a high cultivation. Lu Xiaoyao had clearly seen Qin Haodong kill the fifth elder and the sixth elder. Although he did not know what method Qin Haodong had used, being able to kill experts at the great vehicle stage was a demonstration of his strength. In addition, he had 2 rank 8 pet beasts. This kind of strength was something that he could only look up to. "Little magic doctor, I have a favor to ask." He took out a black demon bead and said, "It's not safe to leave this with me. Little magic doctor, can you help me take care of it? Don't let it fall into the hands of the Ghost King sect." Qin Haodong hesitated for a moment before saying, "All right then, as long as President Lu can trust me." "I can trust you, of course I can. The only person in this world that I can trust is the little magic doctor." Lu Xiaoyao had been an alchemist all his life, so he was very good at reading people. Just based on the fact that Qin Haodong did not take a single cent from them, and that he had given the rejuvenating needle to Ling Hu Chao, and the others regardless of past enmity. Lu Xiaoyao's magnanimity were enough to convince him. It was precisely because of this that he was willing to take out the black demon bead. Qin Haodong reached out to take the black demon bead and put it into the seventh order pagoda. It was no different from herding one sheep or letting two sheep go. It would be a disaster if it was left in Lu Xiaoyao's hands, so it was better to just take it with him. After settling the matter here, everyone returned to the room. Lu Xiaoyao immediately arranged for someone to prepare rooms for Qin Haodong and the others, and asked them to rest. After returning to the room, Qin Haodong said to Niu Zuehua, "Why did the Ghost King sect go around snatching the black demon beads? What's their purpose?" He had always been puzzled about this. At first, he thought that the Ghost King sect had something to do with the alien demon, but he had tested Niu Zuehua's bloodline and found that she was indeed a typical human, without any alien demon blood. Otherwise, the two of them would not have been together. Niu Zuehua said, "I'm not too sure about that. It was my brother who gave the order. I didn't ask him what he wanted to do specifically." Although she held the title of Great Elder in the Ghost King sect, she actually did not do much. Taking Qin Haodong away was one of the few things she did. Qin Haodong said, "Legend has it that the black demon bead is a treasure left behind by the alien demon. Gathering 7 black demon beads can awaken the Devil King underground and let the alien demon be reborn. This thing doesn't seem to have any other use. Why do you want it? Do you want to resurrect the Devil King? What good will it do to the Ghost King sect?" Niu Zuehua shook her head and said, "I don't know about that. The Ghost King sect's affairs are all decided by my brother. I rarely ask." Qin Haodong said, "Anyway, it's definitely not a good thing for the Ghost King sect to gather 7 black demon beads. I must stop them." Niu Zuehua said, "Husband, it seems that you have a lot of opinions about the Ghost King sect." In any case, Li Tianxing, the sect master of the Ghost King sect, was also her brother. She did not want the two of them to become enemies. Qin Haodong said, "I don't have much hatred for the Ghost King sect. It was the Ghost King sect who took the initiative to find trouble with me. However, I am enemies with the alien demon, so I must not let the Devil King be resurrected." This was indeed his idea. Once the Devil King was resurrected, he might open a space channel with the Earth. At that time, the consequences would be unimaginable. Niu Zuehua said, "As far as I know, my brother and I are pure human beings. We have nothing to do with the alien demon beads. I don't think he wants to resurrect the Devil King." The next morning, Qin Haodong had just gotten up and found that Lu Xiaoyao was already waiting in front of the door. He asked in surprise, "President Lu, what's the matter?" Chapter 1000. Lu Xiaoyao said, "Little magic doctor, this old man wants to ask you for help." Qin Haodong said, "President Lu, just tell me what you need. I'll do my best to help as long as I can." Lu Xiaoyao said, "It's like this, young divine doctor. To the north of the Azure Dragon City, there is a Sky Thunder Mountain. Many years ago, I passed by there while gathering herbs and accidentally found a legendary Earth Vein Spirit Fruit." Earth Vein Spirit Fruit? Qin Haodong's expression changed greatly. As a medical sage, it was impossible for him not to know this kind of elixir. Legend had it that as long as a human or a spirit beast took the Earth Vein Spirit Fruit, they could quickly awaken their bloodline power. However, he had only read about this kind of elixir in ancient books and had never seen the real thing. Lu Xiaoyao said, "Yes, it's this kind of elixir. This old man has been following it for many years. In a few days, the Earth Vein Spirit Fruit will ripen and be picked. This old man has been stagnant in the Deshang stage for a long time, and my cultivation has not advanced even an inch. As long as I get an Earth Vein Spirit Fruit, I can refine the 8th rank elixir, the Life Vein Pill. By then, I can use the Life Vein Pill to advance to the Deshang stage." Qin Haodong was also moved upon hearing this elixir. Although his 3-legged golden toad had the dragon bloodline, it was very difficult for it to continue to evolve. The little witch had now stabilized her Holy Spirit body, and every time she summoned a 7th rank magical beast. If the 3-legged golden toad wanted to advance, devouring a 7th rank magical beast would have little effect. If he could get an earth vein spirit fruit at this time, it could quickly enhance its bloodline power and grow into a 8th rank spirit beast, which was equivalent to improving his own strength. Although he was happy, he also knew that things would not be so simple. Since Lu Xiaoyao said he had something to ask, it was certainly not to just hand over the earth vein spirit fruit. As expected, Lu Xiaoyao continued, since ancient times, the treasures of heaven and earth have been guarded by spirit beasts. The one guarding this earth vein spirit fruit is a 8th rank spirit beast, the earth bear. This kind of monster is strong enough to rival a mid-stage Desheng stage powerhouse. Moreover, it has been guarding the earth vein spirit fruit and will devour it as soon as it ripens. So if you want to get the earth vein spirit fruit, it's not an exaggeration to say that it's snatching food from a tiger's mouth. Qin Haodong said, "Do you mean that you want me to help you get the earth vein spirit fruit?" That was indeed what Lu Xiaoyao meant. He hadn't thought of asking Qin Haodong for help before. It was only after seeing Qin Haodong's strength last night that he had such an idea. If he wanted to defeat the earth bear alone in the early Desheng stage, the possibility of getting the earth vein spirit fruit was almost zero. With the help of Qin Haodong, there was a bit more possibility. He said, "Little brother, that's exactly what I meant, but I won't ask you to help me for free. When the earth bear went out to hunt, I once observed this earth vein spirit fruit. There are a total of 5 fruits on it. When the time comes, this old man will only need one to refine a pill. The remaining 4 will all belong to little brother." Qin Haodong said, "President Lu, why didn't you bring back the earth vein spirit fruit if you had the chance?" He had only heard of the effects of the earth vein spirit fruit, but he didn't know much about it. Lu Xiaoyao shook his head and said, "After this old man saw the earth vein spirit fruit, I checked many ancient books and knew that this kind of spiritual thing is born from the spiritual energy of heaven and earth. It's impossible to transplant it. If you can't take the whole earth vein spirit fruit away, it's useless to pick the fruit alone, because the earth vein spirit fruit has no medicinal effect before it matures, and it's useless to eat it. It's precisely because of this that the earth bear has been waiting for the fruit to mature." "Oh," Qin Haodong nodded and asked, "How long until the earth vein spirit fruit matures?" Lu Xiaoyao said, "There are still 3 days." Qin Haodong said, "Well, let's go and have a look now." He had already made up his mind to get the earth vein spirit fruit. This thing was too important to him. First, it could help the 3-legged golden toad to advance to the 8th rank. Second, if the little witch took it, she might be able to make the Holy Spirit body awaken for the 3rd time. The little witch was almost invincible among the 7th rank. Once she could become an 8th rank summoner, that kind of strength would be simply unimaginable. Seeing that Qin Haodong agreed to help, Lu Xiaoyao was overjoyed and said, "Great! Little magic doctor, let's get ready and set off immediately." Qin Haodong went back and told Niu Cuihua and He Ziwei about this matter, and the 2 girls naturally had no objection. After breakfast, the 3 left the little Azure Dragon City with Lu Xiaoyao and rushed toward the Sky Thunder Mountain. The Sky Thunder Mountain was not too far from the little Azure Dragon City, and they arrived at their destination near noon. Lu Xiaoyao pointed to the front and said, "Our destination is 10 miles ahead. The earth bear is an 8th rank magical beast, and it's very sensitive. We must be careful and try to hide our breath, or it'll be troublesome if it finds us." Qin Haodong and the other 2 nodded and walked forward with Lu Xiaoyao. In front of them was an empty valley with no end in sight. At the edge of the valley was a huge cave, and the earth vein spirit fruit grew in this cave. But when Qin Haodong and the others arrived at the cave, they found that there were already many people gathered here. Obviously, these people also came for the earth vein spirit fruit. Lu Xiaoyao was also stunned as he didn't expect this secret to be known by others. After observing these people from afar, he said, "Oh no, these are the people of the Azure Dragon royal family. If it was other ordinary martial artists, they might have a chance to fight for it. But it was difficult to deal with the Azure Dragon royal family. After all, no one in the Azure Dragon Kingdom dared to provoke the Azure Dragon royal family." Niu Cuihua said with disdain, "What's so great about the Azure Dragon royal family? The earth vein spirit fruit is a treasure of heaven and earth, and it wasn't planted by them. Lu Xiaorao said, Young lady, it's true, but we really can't afford to offend the Azure Dragon royal family. Easyway said, Are we just going to give up like this? Lu Xiaorao said, Let's go over and discuss and see if we can work together. If the Azure Dragon royal family refuses, we can only give up. Qin Haodong was quite understanding. After all, the Alchemist Union was under the eyes of the Azure Dragon royal family, and they had to be responsible for the hundreds of alchemists under them. He stopped Niu Cuihua, who was about to say something, and said, Let's do as President Lu said, and see if we can work together. Lu Xiaorao nodded, and led the group forward. They had only taken a few steps when a dozen palace guards came to greet them. These people were obviously hand-picked elites, and every one of them had a cultivation above the form synthesis realm. Stop, what are you guys doing? A guard leader called out. This old man is Lu Xiaoyao of the Alchemist Union. May I ask who's in charge here? Hearing that the other party was the president of the Alchemist Union, the guard leader's expression immediately eased up and said, It's His Highness the Eldest Prince. Lu Xiaorao said, Can you help me inform him that Lu Xiaoyao is here to see the Eldest Prince? President Lu, please wait a moment. After the guard leader finished speaking, he turned and entered the camp. Not long after, a young man around 30 years old walked out. This person was dressed magnificently and had an imposing aura. He was the eldest prince of the Azure Dragon Kingdom, Li Zhen. After seeing Lu Xiaoyao, he went forward and said, President Lu, why are you here? Lu Xiaorao said, I've been observing this earth vein spirit fruit for a long time, and wanted to try my luck today. I didn't expect to meet His Highness the Eldest Prince. Li Zhen said, President Lu, since you've been paying attention for a long time, you must know that this place is guarded by the Earth Bear. Although the earth vein spirit fruit is good, you won't be able to get it. Please leave. Lu Xiaorao said, His Highness the Eldest Prince, can we work together? There are a total of 5 fruits in this earth vein spirit fruit. We only need 2. A trace of contempt flashed across Li Zhen's face. President Lu, our Azure Dragon royal family can obtain this earth vein spirit fruit with our own strength. There's really no need to work with you. Previously, he was polite to Lu Xiaorao on account of the Alchemist Union's president. However, this politeness was only on the surface. Once it involved actual benefits, it wouldn't do. Lu Xiaoyao had been staring at it for a long time. He was still unwilling to just give up. As if seeing through his thoughts, Li Zhen continued, President Lu, to be honest, my younger sister is injured and urgently needs this earth vein spirit fruit to heal her. Moreover, our Azure Dragon royal family has sent a middle-stage Great Ascension Realm and 2 early-stage Great Ascension Realm cultivators. There's no need to work with anyone. Hearing that the other party was so powerful, Lu Xiaoyao sighed. It seemed like he could only give up. His Highness the Eldest Prince, I'll take my leave now. Li Zhen said, President Lu, take care. Qin Haodong stopped Niu Cuihua again and left the valley with Lu Xiaoyao. After they were far away from the Azure Dragon royal family, Lu Xiaoyao said apologetically, Little Miracle Doctor, I'm really sorry for making you come here for nothing. However, the situation has changed and I can't do anything about it. Qin Haodong said, It's all right. After all, it's the Azure Dragon royal family. We can't afford to offend them. Lu Xiaoyao smiled apologetically and said, I wonder what the Little Miracle Doctor's next step is? Why don't you stay at our little Azure Dragon city for a few days? Qin Haodong said, We appreciate President Lu's kindness. Since we can't get the earth vein spirit fruit, we don't want to stay here anymore. We want to go to the Azure Dragon royal city. All right then, Little Miracle Doctor, we'll meet again if fate allows it. Lu Xiaoyao said goodbye to them and flew towards the little Azure Dragon city. After he left, Niu Cuihua said, Husband, are we just going to give up like this? Of course not. We have to get the earth vein spirit fruit. Qin Haodong said, But the president is from the Alchemist Union after all. It's not good for him to do it. It's better for us to do it ourselves. Niu Cuihua said excitedly, That's right. The Azure Dragon royal family is Bulsh*T. Let's go and kill them all now. By then, the earth vein spirit fruit will be ours. She was originally fearless. Plus, she already had a feud with the Azure Dragon royal family. So she didn't care at all. Qin Haodong shook his head and said, "We can't do it by force. Didn't you hear that they have a middle-stage great vehicle expert and 2 early-stage great vehicle experts?" Niu Tsuehua said, "What's so great about that? Leave the middle-stage great vehicle expert to me and the flaming golden eyes beast. I don't believe we can't kill them." That won't work. Fighting with force is always the worst strategy. Even if we win in the end, it will be a Pyrrhic victory. Maybe both sides will be hurt. The earth vein spirit fruit is a treasure of heaven and earth. Who knows how many people will be eyeing it? Now that the Azure Dragon royal family has appeared, who knows if there will be other masters playing with them? Qin Haodong was very clear about the strength of both sides. Compared to them, his side was still at a disadvantage. After all, Niu Tsuehua had just stepped into the middle stage great vehicle. There was definitely a gap between her and the other side's experienced middle stage great vehicle experts. His sniper rifle was useless against middle stage great vehicle experts. Niu Tsuehua said, "The Azure Dragon royal family is waiting there. How can we get the earth vein spirit fruit if we don't kill them?" Chapter 1001. Not to mention that we are not strong enough. Even if we kill them, we may not be able to get the earth vein spirit fruit. Qin Haodong said, "The earth bear is a rank 8 magical beast, and its strength is comparable to the strong in the middle Desheng stage. If it stays in the cave and swallows the earth vein spirit fruit after it ripens, there's really nothing we can do." Hiziwei asked, "Then what should we do?" Qin Haodong said, "Don't worry, there will always be a way. After all, there are still 3 days. Let's take a look at these people from the Azure Dragon Kingdom first. They came prepared. Maybe they have a way to deal with the Bear of Earth." Niu Tsuehua asked, "Then what should we do?" Qin Haodong said, "Wait a minute. I'll go and find out the situation when it gets dark. We'll act according to the circumstances." Niu Tsuehua said, "No, it's too dangerous for you to go alone. I want to go with you." Hiziwei added, "Me too. I want to go with you." Qin Haodong waved his hand and said, "It's not easy to hide when there are more people. The other party has a master in the middle Desheng stage. If it's not good, it will be discovered. At that time, all the work will be wasted." Niu Tsuehua said, "But we are worried about you going alone." Qin Haodong said, "I have a way. You two hide in the 7th Order Pagoda first. Once I'm in danger, I'll immediately summon you to help. This way, it's convenient for us to conceal ourselves and ensure our strength. It's the best way." Niu Tsuehua thought about it and said, "That's a good idea. But you have to promise me that if there's any danger, you have to let me out." "Don't worry. If it's an emergency, I'll ask for your help." After their discussion, the 3 of them entered the 7th level pagoda and rested for a while. After the sky turned dark, Qin Haodong exited the 7th tier pagoda, used another invisibility talisman, and quietly made his way to the Azure Dragon royal family's camp. He was extremely careful along the way. After all, the other party had a master in the middle Desheng stage. Although the invisibility talisman could conceal one's aura, one could not use a large amount of true qi. Otherwise, it would be easy to be discovered by the other party. He carefully passed through the guards at the edge of the camp and slowly came inside. In the middle of the camp, there was a large golden tent, which should be where First Prince Li Zhen was staying. He quietly came to the back of the tent and slowly released his primordial spirit to investigate the situation inside. There were a total of 3 people in the tent. One of them was a sickly woman lying on the bed. Her face was pale, and she looked extremely weak. It was the second Princess Li Mengyao who had escaped from the Vermilion Bird Kingdom. Seeing her situation, Qin Haodong immediately understood. It seemed that the talisman could save her life. It wasn't for nothing. He had extracted a large amount of Li Mengyao's essence blood, which was why he was so weak. Beside Li Mengyao stood the eldest prince Li Zhen, and another old man with white hair and beard. Li Zhen said, Mengyao, don't worry. When I get the earth vein spirit fruit, not only will your body recover, it will also improve. Thank you, big brother. Li Mingyao's eyes flashed with hatred. She clenched her teeth and said, Big brother, no matter what, you have to help me get rid of that Qin brat. It's all because of him that I'm like this now. Li Zhen's expression was sinister as he said, Don't worry. Since he dares to go against the Azure Dragon royal family, I will tear him into pieces sooner or later. The white-haired old man said, The most important thing now is to get the earth vein spirit fruit. By then, not only can we replenish the energy that the second princess has lost, but we can also help the eldest prince reach the early stage of the Great Ascension realm. Speaking of this, Li Mengyao said worriedly, Big brother, I heard that there is an earth bear guarding the earth vein spirit fruit. Do we have a way to get it? Don't worry. No matter how powerful that thing is, it is just a beast. How can it defeat us? Li Zhen said. Elder Wang and Elder Li Tianxiong are from the same sect and are both proficient in the dragon trap formation. He has already set up a formation in front of the cave. As long as we lure the earth bear out, we can trap it there. By then the earth vein spirit fruit will be ours. As the second princess of the Azure Dragon Kingdom, Li Mengyao knew a little about these things. She said, But the earth vein spirit fruit is about to ripen. The earth bear has been guarding there all this time. How can it come out? Elder Wang's name was Wang Minghai. He smiled proudly and took out a long black incense. He said, Second princess, this is the beast saliva incense that I carefully refined. Qin Haodong looked at the incense in his hand and saw that it was completely different from ordinary incense. The surface was covered with dark green patterns that looked like the scales of a fish. Elder Wang, what is the use of this beast saliva incense? Wang Minghai said proudly, This thing is refined from the scales of 5 high-level spirit beasts. It has a special aroma and is especially tempting to the earth bear. Also, this incense has its own special feature. After it is lit, the incense can move according to the mind of the person who lit it and choose any direction. Li Mengyao asked doubtfully, Is this thing really that magical? Wang Minghai said, Of course. Soon, the second princess will see its effect. He said to Lu Zhen, Your Highness, when do we start? Lu Zhen said, Elder Wang is an expert in this. When do you think is the right time? Wang Minghai said, According to my experience, now is the right time. Li Mengyao said, Isn't it early? There are still more than 2 days before the earth vein spirit fruit ripens. Your Highness, you don't understand this. Wang Minghai said, Although the beast saliva incense is very tempting to the earth bear, if we wait until the earth vein spirit fruit ripens, I'm afraid it will be difficult to lure it out. After reaching the 8th rank, the magical beasts basically have a certain level of intelligence. It knows that no one can take the earth vein spirit fruit, so it is willing to come out. If we wait for another day or 2, I'm afraid it won't come out even if we put the dragon meat here. Lu Zhen nodded and said, Elder Wang is right. Let's do as you say. After that, the 3 of them walked out of the tent and came to the cave where the earth bear lived. Qin Haodong followed them secretly. At this time, he had already felt the faint fluctuation of spiritual power in front of the cave. It should be the hidden dragon formation that had been set up long ago. Wang Minghai and the other 2 came to the edge of the hidden dragon formation and stood there. They flicked out a Dan fire and lit the beast saliva incense in their hands. The incense was indeed strange. After it was lit, the fragrance floated straight up into the sky like a straight line and didn't dissipate for a long time. Then, under the control of Wang Haiming's mind, it immediately drilled into the cave where the earth bear lived like a spirit snake. Qin Haodong's spirit was unusually strong. When he swept into the cave, he saw a big bear the size of a small mountain squatting in the cave. This big brown bear was the earth bear, an 8th-ranked magical beast with super strong defense. In front of it was a small pond, and in the middle of the pond was a small green tree. There were 5 bright red fruits hanging on the tree, and they looked very attractive. These were the earth vein spirit fruits. However, these earth vein spirit fruits weren't completely red yet. Some places were still green. When they were completely red, they would truly ripen. and then they would become the earth vein spirit fruits that could enhance the power of bloodline. The earth bear was originally lying quietly by the pool, staring at the earth vein spirit fruits without blinking. At this moment, the fragrance of the beastly fragrance floated in from outside. After smelling this fragrance, the earth bear suddenly sat up and sniffed hard. In an instant, saliva flowed down from the corner of its mouth. It was obvious that this thing was very tempting to it. It looked at the earth vein spirit fruits in the pool, and sniffed the fragrance in its mouth. Its face actually showed a conflicted expression similar to that of a human. It wanted to go out and find the source of the fragrance, but it was reluctant to part with the earth vein spirit fruits in front of it. It walked around the cave a few times, and finally, as if it had made up its mind, it walked step by step towards the entrance of the cave. This guy was huge and had amazing strength. Every step it took felt like the earth was shaking. Li Jun and the others were guarding outside the cave. When they felt the shaking of the earth, their faces revealed a look of surprise. Since there was movement, it meant that the earth bear had been tempted by the beastly fragrance and was ready to come out. As long as this guy entered the dragon-laying trap formation, it would completely become a meat on their chopping board. They could deal with it however they wanted. They hid together behind a huge rock, and Wang Minghai kept activating the fragrance of the beastly fragrance. At the same time, Li Jun ordered the experts brought by the Azure Dragon royal family to hide as well. After a moment, the huge body of the earth bear appeared at the entrance of the cave. As it drooled, its two small black eyes looked at the opposite side. Then, it lifted its huge soul and walked step by step towards the dragon-laying trap formation. Wang Minghai and the other two's faces flashed with excitement. It was obvious that this magical beast was going to fall for it. But at this moment, the earth bear suddenly stopped in its tracks. It sharply glanced in front of it, then lifted its huge soul and stomped hard on the ground. After becoming a rank 8 magical beast, it already had a certain level of spiritual intelligence. Moreover, the earth bear was different from the blazing golden eyes beast. It was an earth attribute magical beast, and was more sensitive to the energy changes in the ground. Although Wang Minghai's method of setting up the dragon-laying trap formation was brilliant, he still couldn't hide the energy fluctuations, and was seen by the earth bear. After it stomped down, the huge energy quickly turned the ground over. The array board and array flags buried underground were all dug out, and turned into a pile of powder. Oh no, this beast actually knows how to break the formation. Wang Minghai was shocked. He didn't expect that his painstaking preparation would be ruined by this earth bear's stomp. In fact, he didn't think it through. To deal with this kind of earth attribute magical beast, there might be a chance of success if he changed the method. After a successful move, the earth bear actually showed a human-like smile at the corner of his mouth, and then he strode over here. Li Mingyao said to Li Jun nervously, "Big brother, what should we do? What are you afraid of? We brought so many experts, can't we trap a bear?" Although Li Jun's expression was cold, as the eldest prince of the Azure Dragon Kingdom and the future heir to the throne, he didn't panic too much. "Elder Wang, gather people immediately. No matter what, we have to trap this earth bear outside the cave until we get the earth vein spirit fruit." This time they used quite a lot of strength. Wang Minghai was a middle-stage great vehicle expert, and there were 2 other early-stage great vehicle experts. Although the 3 of them couldn't kill the earth bear, they could still stop it outside the cave. "Yes, Your Royal Highness," Wang Minghai responded and let out a sharp whistle. The experts of the Azure Dragon royal family, who were hiding in the surroundings, pounced on the earth bear. He himself went around the boulder and cut off the earth bear's retreat. Qin Haodong saw all this, and a smile appeared at the corner of his mouth. A good opportunity had come. He switched to another invisibility talisman, and then quietly sneaked into the cave. Chapter 1002. Li Jun and Li Mingyao had been watching the battle from the sidelines, and were not in a hurry to enter the cave. Since the earth bear could come out, it meant that there was still some time before the earth vein spirit fruit ripened. Even if they entered the cave now, they would not be able to pick it. On the contrary, it would arouse the beast's ferocious nature, making it difficult to control. The Earth Bear did not care about the oncoming crowd, and continued to walk towards the boulder while drooling. When it came to the back of the boulder, it realized that the source of the fragrance was actually a stick of incense. It knew that it had been tricked and immediately let out an earth-shattering roar and smashed the incense with a slap. Even so, it seemed that it could not vent the anger in the Earth Bear's heart, and it slapped the boulder in front of it again. With a loud bang, the boulder, which was originally nearly 100 tons in weight, was smashed into pieces by this guy's slap. The broken pieces flew around like raindrops. Roar! The Earth Bear already had a certain level of spiritual intelligence. As if it knew the purpose of being tricked, it ignored the crowd and strode towards the cave. Li Jun shouted from the side, "Hurry up and stop it. We cannot let this beast return to the cave no matter what." With the power of the Earth Bear, if it guarded the cave, they would not be able to attack it no matter what. When the Earth Vein Spirit fruit ripened, it would definitely be eaten by this guy. By then, even the gods would not be able to snatch it back. After hearing the first prince's order, the Azure Dragon royal family brought nearly 100 guards with a shout. They took out the bows and arrows on their backs and shot at the Earth Bear. Although their bows and arrows were not as good as the god-killing arrows, they were still meticulously made by the royal family. In addition, these guards were at least at the form synthesis stage. Every arrow that was shot out carried great power. For a moment, the sharp sound of the arrows tearing through the air was heard, and shot towards the Earth Bear like raindrops. But this guy did not care about it at all. It only looked at them with contempt, and walked straight towards the cave entrance. These arrows were shot accurately at the Earth Bear, but everyone was surprised to find that the steel arrows could not penetrate its seemingly soft fur. One by one, they all broke into two halves and fell to the ground with a crackling sound. Among the 8th grade magical beasts, the Earth Bear had two characteristics. First, it had an amazing defense, and second, it was extremely strong. Not to mention this kind of ordinary bow and arrow. Even a god-killing arrow couldn't do anything to it. Seeing that the arrows had lost their effectiveness, Li Jun once again shouted to his men, "Go, we must stop it." The guards put away their bows, drew out their weapons and rushed towards the Earth Bear. A late body integration stage guard swung his saber down viciously toward the bear's head. This guy didn't dodge at all. When the saber struck its head, it was as if it had struck steel. Unexpectedly, the sound of metal clashing rang out. Then the Earth Bear swung its huge front paw and slapped the guard away. The force of the slap was so great that the guard was turned into a pile of minced meat the moment he was hit. He crashed into a mountain rock and completely turned into a pile of minced meat. It was impossible to tell that he was still human. Through this attack, the Earth Bear seemed to have been stimulated. After a howl, it rushed to the crowd. In the blink of an eye, dozens of people died under its claws. Li Jun and Li Mingyao's expression changed. This guy's strength was too strong. At this time, Wang Minghai shouted, "Those below the Great Ascension stage, retreat to the side to help. You are not its opponent." After hearing the shout, the guards all retreated. After all, everyone only had one life. The big guy in front of them was too fierce. At this time, a figure wearing a black robe rushed to the Earth Bear and raised his hand to slap its head. The Earth Bear still didn't dodge and slapped its paw back. The black robe man was another early stage Great Ascension stage expert of the Azure Dragon royal family. Naturally, he was much more flexible than the other guards. After the slap, he quickly retreated using the recoil force and dodged the Earth Bear's paw. Although he wasn't injured, this slap did not have much effect. Hitting the Earth Bear's body was like scratching an itch. On the other side, another early stage Great Ascension stage expert inserted a sword into the back of the Earth Bear's head. Although the sword in his hand was not a great weapon like the Xianyuan sword, it was absolutely sharp. It was a treasure sword, but it still had no effect on the Earth Bear. It couldn't even break the basic defense. The Earth Bear casually clawed, and the early stage Great Ascension stage expert was shocked and flew dozens of meters away. Seeing that this guy was so fierce, everyone's eyes showed a look of horror. They couldn't break the defense at all. With such a strong attack power, how could they fight this battle? At this time, Wang Minghai made a move. The sword in his hand made a whistling sound. Like a swimming dragon, it fiercely stabbed the triangular region under the earth bear's neck. The experienced people knew that this was the location of the earth bear's heart. It could be said to be a vital part. He was a master in the middle stage of the Great Ascension stage. His strength was far higher than the others. The earth bear seemed to feel the power of this sword. It no longer ignored it as before. Instead, it raised its paw and slapped the sword. Only to hear a snapping sound, Wang Minghai's long sword stabbed the earth bear's hoof claw. This time it finally broke through the defense and brought out a line of blood on the earth bear's claw. Under the strong shock, Wang Minghai was also shaken out dozens of meters. His wrist was numb, and the sword almost fell to the ground. Although the claw of the earth bear was pierced, it was only a very shallow wound. Moreover, this guy's defense and self-healing ability were amazing. In the blink of an eye, the wound had healed itself. What the hell? How can we fight like this? It's not easy to make a little injury, but it healed in the blink of an eye. Li Zhen was stunned. Fortunately, their purpose was not to kill the earth bear. They just wanted to drag it outside the cave and wait for 2 days to go in and pick the earth vein spirit fruit. After the earth bear was injured, it seemed to enter a state of rage. For so many years, no one had been able to make it bleed. In extreme anger, this guy seemed to forget the earth vein spirit fruit in the cave and rushed madly toward Wang Minghai. Although Wang Minghai was also in the middle stage of the Deshang stage, he did not dare to confront the earth bear in a state of rage. He could only adopt a wandering tactic. The angry earth bear could knock down a forest with a casual wave of its hand and blow up a small mountain with a punch. In this state, even the 2 people in the early stage of the Deshang stage did not dare to come forward to help. Qin Haodong ignored the battle outside and sneaked into the cave alone. This was the territory of the earth bear. Other creatures did not dare to enter on weekdays. He came to the front of the pool unimpeded. Looking at the 5 earth vein spirit fruits on the small tree, Qin Haodong felt a burst of joy. With this thing, not only could he make the 3-legged golden toad advance, but he could also make the little witch's holy spirit body awaken for the 3rd time. He crossed the pool and came to the earth vein spirit fruit. For ordinary people, this kind of earth vein spirit fruit must wait for 3 days to ripen. But he was different. He was the Greenwood Emperor. Although the earth vein spirit fruit was magical, it was also one of the plants of the wood attribute. Qin Haodong pointed at the root of the earth vein spirit fruit and slowly injected the greenwood genuine qi. Then a strange scene appeared. The small tree in front of him quickly grew a few centimeters, and then the 5 fruits on the tree grew at a speed visible to the naked eye. The red place was getting bigger and bigger. It only took a few minutes for them to be ripe. After the earth vein spirit fruit was ripe, it quickly emitted a refreshing fragrance, which made people feel comfortable all over. It's done! Qin Haodong shouted in his heart, and raised his hand to collect all the 5 earth vein spirit fruits. He did not pay attention to the small tree of the earth vein spirit fruit. This kind of spiritual thing must be kept. After a few years, the earth vein spirit fruit would be picked again. After he succeeded, he did not stop. He quickly rushed to the cave entrance and left in the blink of an eye. Outside the cave, the earth bear was in a state of madness. A series of crazy attacks made Wang Minghai very embarrassed. Wang Minghai secretly complained in his heart. According to this situation, it was really hard to say whether he could hold the earth bear for 2 days. This guy was too fierce. Not only did it have inexhaustible strength, but its defense was also super strong. He could not cause substantial damage to it at all. At this moment, the earth bear suddenly stopped waving its claws. It first sniffed hard, then ignored Wang Minghai and rushed to the cave. After guarding the earth vein spirit fruit for so many years, it naturally knew the smell of the fruit when it was ripe. He did not know why it smelled the fragrance of the earth vein spirit fruit just now. This made the earth bear no longer calm. The reason why it dared to stay here unscrupulously was that the earth vein spirit fruit was not ripe. If it was not ripe, it would be of no value to others and would not be picked up. But now it was different. The earth vein spirit fruit exuded a ripe fragrance. It must go back and swallow it as soon as possible, so it would be safe. Seeing the earth bear rushing madly to the cave, Wang Minghai did not come back to his senses for a while, and the other two guards in the early Desheng stage rushed to stop it. However, their strength was still relatively weak, and they were all sent flying by the earth bear with a slap. They fell to the ground and vomited mouthfuls of blood. Seeing the power of the earth bear, the other guards stood aside and did not dare to come forward. Even the early Desheng stage was not its opponent. If they came over, they would only be sending food. In such a delay, the earth bear had already rushed into the cave. It came to the pool at the fastest speed, but found that there was only a bare tree left. The earth vein spirit fruit that had been guarded for many years was gone, and the surrounding air was still filled with the faint fragrance of the earth vein spirit fruit after it was ripe. This time the earth bear was completely furious. It had guarded it for so many years, but in the blink of an eye, it was picked up by others, which made it completely fall into a state of madness. It must be those despicable humans outside. They lured me out, and it must be their accomplices who stole my earth vein spirit fruit. The earth bear, who already had spiritual wisdom, put this black pot firmly on the heads of Li Zhen and others. Since it identified the murderer, it must take revenge. It turned its head and rushed out of the cave. Chapter 1003. The earth bear suddenly went into the cave, which made Li Zhen and the others at a loss for a while. Li Mengyao said, "What happened? Why did the bear suddenly run back?" Wang Minghai said, "I just smelled a fragrance. It seems that the earth vein spirit fruit is ripe." Li Zhen's expression changed. "It ripened so quickly? Didn't they say it would take more than 2 days?" Wang Minghai said, "I'm not sure about that, but looking at the earth bear, it should be the result." Li Zhen shouted, "Then what are you waiting for? Hurry up and grab it. At least get 1 earth vein spirit fruit. Whoever can grab the earth vein spirit fruit, this king will reward him with 2 low-grade immortal crystals." This was definitely a big reward. Whether it was for Wang Minghai or the other guards, 2 low-grade immortal crystals was enough to make them fight for their lives. As the saying goes, under a big reward, there will be brave men. These people roared and rushed into the cave. Who knew that when they just arrived at the cave entrance, they would run into the earth bear? An angry earth bear was much more powerful than a tank. It was not something these people could contend with at all. More than a dozen guards who rushed in front had their bones broken, including an early Mahayana realm guard, whose sternum was directly broken by the earth bear. After falling to the ground, it stepped on him fiercely, turning him into a meat paste. Everyone hurriedly retreated. In such an encounter, a total of more than 20 people were killed or injured. The earth bear's anger was not vented at all. It roared again and rushed towards Wang Minghai and the others. Li Zhen and Li Mengyao stood next to them. Seeing the earth bear leave the cave, still so angry, they were extremely puzzled. "Big brother, what's going on? Why did the earth bear suddenly go crazy?" Li Zhen also looked inexplicable. "I don't know, let's go in and see now." He pulled Li Mengyao. The two sneaked into the cave and walked inside. The cave of the earth bear was very simple. Soon they came to the side of the pool and saw the lonely small tree inside. Li Mengyao said, "Big brother, is this the earth vein spirit fruit?" Li Zhen said with a calm face, "Yes, this is the tree of the earth vein spirit fruit, but the fruit on it is gone." "Where is the fruit? Could it have been eaten by the earth bear?" Li Zhen shook his head and said, "Definitely not. If the earth bear ate the fruit, it wouldn't be so angry. It must have lost the earth vein spirit fruit and thought that we stole it, so it crazily retaliated against us." Li Mengyao said in surprise, "What's going on? We didn't get the earth vein spirit fruit, and we didn't eat the earth bear either. Is there a third person here?" Li Zhen frowned and said, "Normally speaking, this isn't possible. Only our Azure Dragon royal family came here. Furthermore, we have been keeping an eye on the cave entrance, and no one has entered. How could there be other people?" Li Mengyao said. "But how could the earth vein spirit fruit be lost?" Li Zhen's expression suddenly changed. "Could it be they stole the earth vein spirit fruit? Who is it? Could it be that someone else has been here?" Li Zhen said, A few hours ago, the president of the Azure Dragon Kingdom's Alchemist Association, Lu Xiaoyao, brought 3 people here. Initially, they wanted to cooperate with me to snatch the Earth Vein Spirit Fruit, but I rejected them. Could it be that they didn't leave, but secretly stole the Earth Vein Spirit Fruit? Li Mingyao also knew Lu Xiaoyao. She said, "That's not very possible. Lu Xiaoyao is only in the early stages of Great Ascension Realm. It's impossible for him to steal the Earth Vein Spirit Fruit under the eyes of us and the Earth Bear. No matter what, we have failed this time. Let's leave this place first. Otherwise, it will be troublesome when the Earth Bear returns." With that said, the 2 of them hurriedly left the place. Outside the cave, the Azure Dragon Kingdom's guards were locked in a fierce battle with the Earth Bear. The enraged Earth Bear grabbed another Great Ascension Realm guard and sat on his butt, turning him into meat paste. Wang Minghai also found an opportunity to stab his long sword into the Earth Bear's chest. It was a pity that the Earth Bear's defense was too strong. The treasured sword only managed to stab about 2 inches in before stopping. His arm was torn off by the Earth Bear's claws. Seeing his men being beaten up so miserably, Li Jun shouted, "The Earth Vein Spirit Fruit has been lost. Everyone, don't continue fighting. Hurry and retreat." Hearing the order of the eldest prince, the guards immediately fled in all directions, as if they had heard the sound of nature. Although the Earth Bear was powerful, its only flaw was that it could not fly. Seeing that everyone had flown into the sky, it could only vent its anger on the surrounding rocks and trees on the ground. Wang Minghai lost an arm and his face was pale. After simply dealing with the injury, he said to Li Jun, "Your Royal Highness, what the hell is going on?" "I don't know. In short, the Earth Vein Spirit Fruit in the cave has been picked by someone," Wang Minghai said in surprise. "How is this possible? There is only one entrance to the cave. We have been guarding here all this time. How could someone get in? Who would have known? If I find out who did it, I'll cut him into 1,000 pieces." Li Jun was furious. He had led his men to fight with the Earth Bear outside, but the fruit was picked by someone else. This kind of depression made him want to vomit blood. This time, he had come here with a middle-stage Mahayana realm and 2 early-stage Mahayana realm experts. In the end, 2 died and 1 was injured. It would have been worth it if they had gotten the Earth Vein Spirit Fruit, but they got nothing. With such a huge loss, even if he was the eldest prince of the Azure Dragon Kingdom, he would inevitably be punished when he returned. Qin Haodong left the cave and entered the 7th stage pagoda. When he returned, the 2 girls were already waiting impatiently. "Husband, you're finally back. I was so worried." Niu Tsuehua pulled Qin Haodong and said, "How are you? Are you hurt?" Iziwei did not speak, but her eyes were full of concern. "No, I'm fine." Qin Haodong smiled at the 2 girls. Niu Tsuehua then asked, "How is it? Did you get the Earth Vein Spirit Fruit?" "Here it is." Qin Haodong turned his wrist and 5 bright red Earth Vein Spirit Fruits appeared in his palm. The entire 7th stage pagoda was filled with a rich fragrance. "So beautiful." He Ziwei held one of the Earth Vein Spirit Fruits in her hand and played with it fondly. This thing looked more like a gem than anything else. Niu Tsuehua also grabbed one and said, "This fruit smells so good. Can I have one?" She pretended to take a bite as she spoke. Qin Haodong hurriedly said, "No way." Niu Tsuehua pouted and said, "Stingy. There are 5 of them. What's the big deal about giving one to me and Sister Ziwei?" Qin Haodong smiled bitterly and said, "This is not a matter of being stingy. You're not a magical beast. If you directly swallow an Earth Vein Spirit Fruit, your body will explode and you will die. Compared to magical beasts, the human body and meridians were much weaker. It had to be refined into pills before it could be consumed. If it was directly consumed, not only would it not have any effect, it would also cost one's life." "All right then. I'll return it to you first." Niu Tsuehua placed the Earth Vein Spirit Fruit back in Qin Haodong's hand and said, "How did you get this?" Qin Haodong told her what had happened from beginning to end. In the end, he said, "Fortunately, the people from the Azure Dragon Kingdom came. Otherwise, I wouldn't have been able to lure the Earth Bear out, and I wouldn't have been able to do anything." Niu Tsuehua smiled and said, "The people from the Azure Dragon Kingdom are really stupid. They fought so hard outside. But it turns out that they helped you a lot. Easyway smiled and said, "How are they now? Do they know that the earth vein spirit fruit has been lost?" Qin Haodong said, "When I came out, the earth bear had already found out that something was wrong. I guess it's looking for trouble now." After saying that, he summoned the three-legged golden toad with his mind. It was attracted by the earth vein spirit fruit in Qin Haodong's hand as soon as it came out. Its eyes showed a greedy look, and its big head kept rubbing against Qin Haodong's leg. "It's no use trying to please me. I can only give you one. Whether it can improve your bloodline depends on you." Qin Haodong threw an earth vein spirit fruit to it. The three-legged golden toad rolled its big tongue and swallowed it directly. Niu Tsuehua said, "Magical beasts are lucky. They can eat it whenever they want. I don't know if this fruit will work." As soon as she finished speaking, the three-legged golden toad flopped on the ground and fell into a deep sleep. Qin Haodong said, "It seems to work. When it wakes up, it should be a magical beast of the 8th rank." After saying that, he put the three-legged golden toad back into the spirit beast bag. Easyway asked, "When are we going back?" Qin Haodong said, "Don't worry. I'll refine a furnace of pulse refining pills for you to improve your cultivation, and then we'll go out." Niu Tsuehua said, "You're only at the form synthesis stage now. Can you refine 8th grade pills? Do me a favor. You can try it." Qin Haodong's attainments in alchemy were no problem. What he lacked now was cultivation. But after last time's cross-body transfer, he thought he could ask Niu Tsuehua to help him try. He took out the Shinnon cauldron and sat cross-legged. He let Niu Tsuehua sit behind him, put his right hand on the Mingmen acupoint on his back, and slowly transferred genuine qi. He could now use Niu Tsuehua's genuine qi to temporarily improve his cultivation to the early stage of the Desheng realm. But this was only temporary. As long as Niu Tsuehua withdrew her hand, he would immediately return to the original level, which was still at the form synthesis stage. Moreover, this kind of cross-body transfer consumed a lot of Niu Tsuehua's energy, so she couldn't hold on for too long. He first threw the earth vein spirit fruit into the Shinnon cauldron, then took out the corresponding pills of pulse refining pills, and threw them in one by one to refine. About an hour later, a strong fragrance of pills floated out, and then 7 red pulse refining pills flew out of the Shinnon cauldron and fell into the jade bottle in Qin Haodong's hand. "It's done." Qin Haodong breathed a sigh of relief, and his forehead was covered with sweat. Just now, with the help of Niu Tsuehua's genuine qi, it consumed a lot of his spiritual force. He took out 2 pulse refining pills and gave one to Niu Tsuehua and Heeziwei. "Try it and see how it works." The two of them swallowed the pills and began to cultivate to improve their cultivation. Time passed by, and about an hour later, Heeziwei was the first to break through, and she crossed 2 thresholds in succession, directly reaching the peak of the form synthesis stage. After her, Niu Tsuehua's aura suddenly soared, reaching the late stage of the Desheng realm. Both of them successfully broke through. After hesitating for a moment, Qin Haodong also took out a low-grade immortal crystal and began to break through the bottleneck of the Desheng realm. When he was in the Vermilion Bird Kingdom, a low-grade immortal crystal allowed him to enter the middle stage of the form synthesis stage from the early stage. Now that he had 16 low-grade immortal crystals, he should be able to succeed. Chapter 1004. About 4 hours later, Qin Haodong opened his eyes again with a flash of brilliance. He had successfully broken through to the early stage of the Great Vehicle realm. However, the 16 lower-grade immortal crystals had all turned into nothingness. Not even a speck was left. He secretly rejoiced in his heart that he was well prepared. Otherwise, all his efforts might have been in vain. The 3 of them had successfully broken through. This time, Qin Haodong did not need Niu Tsuehua's help to concoct the pulse regeneration pill. Apart from the earth vein spirit fruit left for the little she-devil, the other 3 were all concocted into pills. A day later, the 3 of them left the 7th Order Pagoda and reappeared in the valley of Sky Thunder Mountain. When the 3 of them appeared, they were shocked by the scene in front of them. When they first arrived, Sky Thunder Mountain was covered with trees, and the scenery was beautiful, just like a paradise. But now, the surroundings of Sky Thunder Mountain were in ruins. All the flowers and trees were destroyed beyond recognition. Even the ground seemed to have been overturned. Why is it like this? Just as they were puzzled, an angry roar suddenly came from the side. The Earth Bear pounced on the three of them with a strong gust of wind. So everything in front of them was caused by this guy. The sudden loss of the Earth Vein Spirit Fruit left it with nowhere to vent its anger. Although it had already beaten the people from the Azure Dragon Kingdom into a sorry state, it was still angry. Moreover, this guy seemed to have endless energy. After being tossed around for so long, its aura did not weaken at all. Big guy, you really don't know how to open your eyes. Since you're here, I'll play with you. Niu Tsuehua had just broken through to the late stage of the Great Vehicle Realm. After feeling the power of this realm, she had long wanted to find someone to practice with. Unfortunately, there was no suitable opponent. The unlucky Earth Bear just happened to come knocking on her door. The Earth Bear's eyes were bloodshot. It raised its huge bare paw and slapped at the oxmouth flower. In its eyes, it had no intention of showing mercy to the fairer sex. Niu Tsuehua did not dodge. The spiritual energy in her body revolved crazily. She also slapped out with her palm. A small bare paw collided with a crystal-clear hand. It seemed that there was a big gap between the man and the bear. However, when the two palms collided, the earthen bear was sent flying dozens of meters away, as if it had been hit by a cannonball. It crashed into the ground with a loud bang, causing the whole valley to tremble. Niu Tsuehua only took 2 steps back. She looked at her palm and said with a smile, "Husband, what do you think? Not bad, right?" Qin Haodong nodded. It seemed that at the level of the Deshang stage, each further improvement in cultivation was unimaginable. A day ago, Wang Minghai in the middle Deshang stage was still abused like a dog by this bear, and even his arm was torn off. At this time, Niu Tsuehua dealt with this earth bear as if she was playing a game. She had an absolute advantage in terms of strength, which showed the gap between them. Roar! The defense of the earth bear was amazing. Although it was sent flying dozens of meters away, it did not suffer any injuries. It had always been the king of this valley, and no living being dared to approach it. Now that the Earth Vein Spirit Fruit that it had guarded for so many years had been snatched away, and it had been beaten up to such a state by a human, it was completely enraged. Climbing up from the ground, it rushed over like a gust of wind, opened its bloody mouth, and bit Niu Tsuehua with its white teeth. "Big guy, your mouth is so smelly." Niu Tsuehua leaped into the air and kicked on the head of the earth bear. With a bang, the earth bear was kicked out again like a hill. This time, Niu Tsuehua did not give it any chance to breathe. She caught up and beat it violently. Roar! 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 In the whole small valley, the howl of the earth bear resounded, and the surrounding small beasts were scared to run around. One by one, the birds spread their wings and flew away from here. At the beginning, the earth bear was roaring, and it sounded quite imposing. After half an hour, it sounded like a scream. In front of Niu Tsuehua, it no longer had its former power, and it was abused without the power to fight back. Although its defensive ability was amazing, it could not withstand the violent beating of the strong person in the late Deshang stage. It already had a certain degree of spiritual wisdom, and knew that it was not the opponent of the person in front of it. Finally, it simply lay on the ground and kowtowed to the 3 people, and its pair of small eyes were full of begging. Niu Tsuehua clapped her hands with satisfaction and smiled. "Little brother, do you want me to cut off its 2 pairs of bare paws? And let's have a big meal." Hearing this, the earth bear was even more afraid. It lay on the ground and shivered, but it did not dare to resist. It had tried to escape many times, but it was beaten back by the crazy woman in front of it, and every time it was beaten harder than the last. Qin Haodong said, "How can such a big bear paw be eaten? If you can't finish it, you can keep it and eat it slowly, 1 braised, 1 sweet and sour, 1 dry fried, 1 barbecued." Niu Tsuehua showed the nature of a foodie, and her saliva flowed down as she said. The earth bear was so scared that it almost peed its pants. Its whole body was trembling. Forget it. It's not easy for a magical beast to cultivate to this level. It's a pity to eat it. Qin Haodong came to the front of the earth bear, looked at it and said, "Are you willing to be my spirit beast?" At this time, the earth bear had no choice. It knew that only this man could save it. It nodded in a hurry, for fear that it would be eaten by the crazy woman. Qin Haodong smiled slightly, raised his hand to draw a hexagram, and then dripped a drop of blood in it. Soon, the hexagram with the drop of blood was submerged into the forehead of the earth bear, and he had another magical beast comparable to the middle Deshang stage. Qin Haodong's mind moved, and he put the earth bear into the spirit beast bag. The three of them rose into the air, but they did not directly go to the Azure Dragon King City, but first came to the little Azure Dragon City. This time they could get the earth vein spirit fruit, because of the information from Lu Xiaoyao. And this old man was good. The last consultation fee was 5 pieces of low-grade immortal crystals, which helped them break through to the Deshang stage. Qin Haodong had always been a grateful person. Since he successfully refined the vein vitality pill, he had to give this old man some benefits. After they entered the city, they came to Lu Xiaoyao's mansion, and without any notice, they directly entered the mansion. With their current cultivation, the guards in the mansion were basically useless. They could not stop them at all. It was already evening, and Lu Xiaoyao's living room was lit. Aside from him, there were 3 other people sitting around. They were the Azure Dragon Kingdom's eldest prince Li Zhen, second princess Li Mengyao, and Wang Minghai, who had lost an arm. Qin Haodong waved his hand at Niu Zuohua and Li Zhen, indicating that they should not go in first. They should observe the situation first. In the living room, Lu Xiaoyao was shocked to see the 3 of them. Then he said with a face full of smiles, "First prince, second princess, shouldn't the 2 of you be guarding the earth vein spirit fruit on Sky Thunder Mountain? Why have you come to my house?" According to the previous estimation, the earth vein spirit fruit would ripen in 3 days. It should not ripen yet. He did not know why these 3 suddenly came to his house. "The earth vein spirit fruit has been lost." Li Zhen's face was gloomy. This trip to the Thunder Mountain was a heavy loss. 2 early-stage Great Ascension Realm experts died at once, and Wang Minghai had to rest for a whole day to recover from his serious injuries. However, losing an arm would greatly affect his strength in the future. These were all secondary. What made him most angry was that the earth vein spirit fruit had been stolen. He worked hard for half a day, but in the end he got nothing. What the earth vein spirit fruit was lost. Who has the strength to steal the earth vein spirit fruit from the eldest prince's hands? Also, the earth bear was guarding it, and the earth vein spirit fruit hasn't ripened yet. What's the use of taking it? Lu Xiaoyao was indeed shocked by this news, throwing out a series of questions. "I don't know the specifics. Anyway, we entangled the earth bear and paid a heavy price, but the earth vein spirit fruit was stolen." Li Zhen said to Lu Xiaoyao, "President Lu, this time I came to ask you, where did you go after we met at the Sky Thunder Mountain?" Lu Xiaoyao hurriedly said, "Is the eldest prince suspicious of me? The loss of the earth vein spirit fruit has nothing to do with me. The eldest prince wanted the earth vein spirit fruit. Of course, I couldn't compete with him. So I returned to the little Azure Dragon City on the same day. If you don't believe me, you can ask the guards at the city gate." Li Zhen didn't doubt Lu Xiaoyao's words. Not to mention that Lu Xiaoyao didn't dare to compete with him openly. Even if he had the guts, he didn't have the strength. He asked again, "Who were those people who went to the Sky Thunder Mountain with you? Where are they now?" After thinking for a few days, he felt that those people were the most suspicious of taking the earth vein spirit fruit. Lu Xiaoyao said, "You mean them? That young man is Dr. Qin Haodong. He cured my disease before. The other 2 women are his 2 confidants. We separated after seeing the eldest prince that day. They said they were going to the Azure Dragon City, and we haven't seen each other since." "Qin Haodong, it's this thief." A burning hatred flashed in Li Mingyao's eyes. "Brother, it must be this guy who took the earth vein spirit fruit." Lu Xiaoyao said in shock. "No way, I think Dr. Qin is a good person." Li Mingyao gritted her teeth and said, "Then you've been tricked by him. How good can a person who colludes with the Ghost King sect be? Colluding with the Ghost King sect, that's even more impossible, Lu Xiaoyao said. The day before yesterday, I was attacked by the 5th and 6th elders of the Ghost King sect. At that time, I was already unable to resist and was about to die. But Dr. Qin and the others killed the people of the Ghost King sect, which saved my life. Li Zhen said, President Lu, you've been tricked by the boy surnamed Qin. This should be a trick set by the Ghost King sect. The purpose is to gain your trust. A trick, is it possible? Lu Xiaoyao's face was full of disbelief. He saw Qin Haodong kill the 5th and 6th elders of the Ghost King sect with his own eyes. Even if the Ghost King sect wanted to use a trick, they wouldn't sacrifice such important people, right? Li Mingyao said. When I was in the kingdom of Vermilion Bird, I saw Qin Haodong with the first elder of the Ghost King sect with my own eyes. And in order to save that witch, he didn't even care about his own life. This kind of person, if you say he didn't collude with the Ghost King sect, who would believe it? Hearing their conversation, Niu Cuihua leaned to Qin Haodong's ear and said, It seems that you can't get rid of the hat of colluding with the witch of the Ghost King sect. Qin Haodong smiled and said, It's okay, if I can't get rid of it, I'll just wear it. It's nothing anyway. He really didn't care about these things, whether it was the Ghost King sect or the Four Kingdoms, it didn't matter. His ultimate goal was to return to Earth. Chapter 1005. Seeing how confident Li Mingyao was, Lu Xiaoyao couldn't help but believe her. He then cried out involuntarily, Oh no, my family's heirloom, the black demon bead, was swindled away by him. Li Zhen said, I told you that he had ulterior motives for treating you. He even took the earth vein spirit fruit. This bastard, if he falls into my hands one day, I'll tear him into pieces. Li Mingyao said, President Lu, if you get any news about Qin Haodong in the future, you must inform the Azure Dragon royal family as soon as possible. We'll have to kill him even if we have to mobilize all the experts in the Azure Dragon Kingdom. Lu Xiaoyao said, Don't worry, Your Highness. I'll report it as soon as I have any news. Li Zhen said, All right, we'll take our leave. This was also their main purpose for coming here. With that, the three of them left the president's residence. After sending them off, Lu Xiaoyao sat back in his chair. Up until now, he only believed half of what Li Zhen and the others had said. Based on his gut feeling and years of experience, Qin Haodong shouldn't be that kind of person. At this moment, a clatter came from the table next to him. He turned his head and saw a small jade bottle on the table. Who is it? Lu Xiaoyao jumped up. With his cultivation, he was able to place this thing on the table without a sound. This was indeed a little too terrifying. He could also see that the other party wanted to startle him. Otherwise, he wouldn't have discovered it at all. He looked around the room and walked out of the door, but he didn't see anyone. With a stomach full of doubts, he returned to the room and picked up the small jade bottle. After opening it, a burst of fragrance greeted his nostrils. Oh my God, is this the Pulse Vitality pill? Lu Xiaoyao had tried everything to get the Earth Vein Spirit Fruit in order to refine this pill. He didn't expect that the pill would miraculously appear in his hands before he could get his hands on the Earth Vein Spirit Fruit. After carefully identifying it, he finally confirmed that this was the level 8 pill, the Pulse Vitality pill. There was no mistake. Who gave this to me? Suppressing the excitement in his heart, he carefully thought about it. In the end, it could only be Qin Haodong. It seemed that Li Zhen and the others had guessed correctly. The Earth Vein Spirit Fruit must have been taken by Qin Haodong. But he couldn't imagine how that young man had taken away the Earth Vein Spirit Fruit under the noses of the Earth Bear and Li Zhen. Also, how did he refine the Meridian Restoration pill? Could it be that he was also an 8th grade alchemist? Should we inform First Prince Li Zhen and the others about this? Lu Xiaoyao hesitated for a moment and finally decided to hide it. Qin Haodong was able to give him a pulse revitalizing pill after the incident, which was enough to show his character. He was definitely not the kind of person they slandered. Qin Haodong didn't want to bring any trouble to Lu Xiaoyao, So he left after throwing the pill. He was about to head to the Azure Dragon Royal City. With the hatred that the Azure Dragon Royal family had for him, he had to conceal it. After all, he was going there for the Azure Dragon Spirit Spring, and not to attract hatred. They first found an inn to stay in, and then Qin Haodong used the disguise technique to change their appearances. Although they still looked gorgeous, they were completely different from before. Even if they were standing in front of Li Mengyao, she wouldn't be able to recognize them. The next morning, the three of them changed into a set of clothes and left the little Azure Dragon City, flying towards the Azure Dragon Royal City. However, after flying for a short while, they saw figures moving in the distance. There were dozens of people gathered in front of them. Let's go and take a look. After Qin Haodong said that, the three of them concealed their presence and carefully approached. They saw Li Mengyao, Li Zhen, and the others surrounded by dozens of men in black. These people were all wearing masks and were from the Ghost King sect. The two people at the front were wearing golden masks and black clothes. One of them was a woman with a slim figure, and 4 skulls were embroidered on her sleeves. The other was a man with 3 skulls embroidered on his sleeves. These two were the Ghost King sect's 3rd and 4th elders. Qin Haodong thought to himself, "It seems like I really have fate with the Ghost King sect. I just killed the 5th and 6th elders, and now I've met them again." Li Zhen and Li Mengyao stood in the middle, while the Azure Dragon Royal family's guards guarded the surroundings, forming a circular formation. "How dare your Ghost King sect attack the Azure Dragon Royal family? Do you want to be exterminated?" As the prince of the Azure Dragon Kingdom, Li Zhen's words were powerful, but he was extremely nervous. At this moment, their strength was severely damaged. Wang Minghai was the only master of the Great Vehicle stage left, and he was seriously injured. He might not even be able to use half of his strength. On the other hand, the 2 leading elders of the Ghost King sect were masters of the Great Vehicle stage. If they really fought, they would definitely be at a disadvantage. "Prince, you're so imposing. You're almost scaring me." The 4th elder giggled. Her voice was crisp and pleasant to the ear. It was especially pleasant to listen to. Qin Haodong frowned slightly. Why did this woman's voice sound so familiar? He seemed to have heard it somewhere before. The 4th elder continued, "Your Azure Dragon Kingdom has always treated the Ghost King sect as an enemy. You always want to exterminate the Ghost King sect. But what can you do? Aren't we still fine?" Li Mengyao said angrily. What do you want?" The 4th elder said, "I heard that you went to pick the Earth Vein Spirit fruit this time. The Ghost King sect also wants it, so we've been waiting for you here. As long as you hand over the Earth Vein Spirit fruit, we'll let you live." Hearing this, Li Zhen had the urge to vomit blood again. This time he was so useless. He didn't even see the shadow of the Earth Vein Spirit fruit, but he had caused so much trouble. He said, "We didn't get any Earth Vein Spirit fruit at all. It was taken away by someone else." The 4th elder giggled again. "Your Highness, do you think we look like idiots? In this Azure Dragon Kingdom, besides the Ghost King sect, who would dare to steal the fruit of the Azure Dragon Royal family? Isn't this a joke?" Li Zhen said angrily, "I don't care if you believe it or not. Anyway, we didn't get the Earth Vein Spirit fruit." The 3rd elder, who had been standing silently on the side, said in a low voice, "It seems that you want us to search for it ourselves." After he finished speaking, Qin Haodong's heart skipped a beat. He finally remembered who these 2 people were. The 3rd elder and the 4th elder were the little lark and the old man he met in the Black Tortoise Kingdom's Pegasus City. At that time, these 2 people were singing in the tea house. They looked so pitiful, and he even gave them spirit stones. However, at that time, he was only in the soul formation realm, so he couldn't see through their cultivation. "How dare you?" Li Mengyao shouted in an imposing manner. This was the Azure Dragon Kingdom's territory. No one dared to disrespect the Azure Dragon royal family here. Unfortunately, she chose the wrong opponent this time. The opponent was the Ghost King sect, and they didn't care about the Azure Dragon royal family at all. "Whether I dare or not, you'll know in a moment." After the 3rd elder finished speaking, he reached out and grabbed Li Mengyao. Wang Minghai stood by the side. He couldn't let the prince and princess get hurt. Although he was injured, he couldn't care too much. He jumped up and punched the third elder's palm with his remaining fist. The third elder chuckled. Old man Wang, if you weren't injured, you could still walk a few rounds with me. But now that you're crippled, one slap isn't even enough for you. As he spoke, the two palms collided. Wang Minghai and the third elder's strength were similar, both in the middle stage of the Great Ascension realm. Unfortunately, not only was he missing an arm, his vitality hadn't recovered yet. Under such circumstances, their strength wasn't on the same level at all. With a bang, the two palms collided. Wang Minghai immediately flew backwards like a kite with a broken string. This triggered the internal injury that he hadn't fully recovered from, and a stream of blood flowed down the corner of his mouth. The fourth elder also made a move. She just waved her sleeves, and the royal guard in front of her was beaten into a mess. She walked in front of Li Jun and Li Mingyao and said, "First prince, second princess, what else do you have to say?" Li Jun's face was ashen. It seemed like he had been tricked by the Ghost King sect from the very beginning. They were waiting for him to get the Earth Vein Spirit Fruit, and when his strength was greatly reduced. Unfortunately, the Ghost King sect didn't calculate that he really didn't get the Earth Vein Spirit Fruit. Seeing that the Ghost King sect was in complete control of the situation, Li Mingyao's arrogant expression faded a bit and said, "Let me tell you, we really don't have the Earth Vein Spirit Fruit." The fourth elder chuckled. "You really won't shed a tear until you see the coffin. Second princess's figure is not bad. It looks even more voluptuous than me. Now let's see if it's true or not." Then she reached out to grab Li Mingyao. Even though the other party was also a woman, Li Mingyao couldn't stand being humiliated. She tried her best to resist. Unfortunately, she was only in the middle stage of the unity stage. Plus, she hadn't recovered her vitality yet. Naturally, she wasn't a match for the third elder. She was completely suppressed by her opponent's powerful aura. Li Jun's face darkened. He wanted to help his sister, but was blocked by the third elder. Seeing that his side was in complete despair, a clear voice came from the side. "First prince, as long as you take out 5 low-grade immortal crystals, I will help you get rid of these Ghost King sect people." Li Jun looked back and saw a handsome young man appear behind him. Beside him were 2 extremely beautiful women. Back then, Li Mingyao was able to take out a low-grade immortal crystal. So Qin Haodong wanted to try and see if this Azure Dragon Kingdom's first prince was richer. He had never seen these 3 people before, and didn't know who they were. However, since they were familiar with the Ghost King sect, and still dared to stand out at this time, they naturally had the ability. The situation was urgent, so he didn't care about the pain. He made a prompt decision and said, "Deal. As long as you help me kill these Ghost King sect people, I will immediately take out 5 low-grade immortal crystals as a reward." Hearing the conversation between the two, the fourth elder wasn't in a hurry. He turned around and looked at Qin Haodong. "Little handsome, do you want to be the enemy of the Ghost King sect?" Qin Haodong smiled. "I have no choice. Recently money has been very tight. If you can take out 5 low-grade immortal crystals, then I won't interfere in this mess today. Kid, I really don't know who gave you the courage to extort even the Ghost King sect. If you want money, go ask the King of Hell." In the past, as long as the name of the Ghost King sect was mentioned, most people would avoid it. But this kid in front of him dared to extort the Ghost King sect. The third elder was instantly furious. He reached out to grab Qin Haodong. Nether Ghost Claw. The boundless energy immediately transformed into a ghostly claw that would make one's hair stand on end. With a huge pressure, the claw grabbed at the 3 of them. Chapter 1006. You're courting death. How dare you attack my husband? Niu Tsuehua shouted angrily. Her vital energy turned into a giant fist and smashed at the ghostly claw. Before this, the third elder, who was at the middle stage of the Great Vehicle Realm, was 1 level higher than her, the Great Elder. But recently, she had improved continuously and reached the late stage of the Great Vehicle Realm. She was not someone that the third elder could fight against. The Nether Ghost Claw was instantly smashed by the giant fist. With a muffled groan, The third elder flew backward and spat out a mouthful of blood. Seeing that this woman defeated the third elder in one move, the people of the Azure Dragon royal family were delighted. They were on the verge of despair, but now their savior had arrived. The fourth elder of the Ghost King sect was shocked. The third elder's cultivation was higher than hers, but she could not even take one move from the opponent. It was obvious that the opponent was at least in the late stage of the great vehicle realm. With such a huge difference in strength, how could they fight this battle? She was also a very decisive person. She immediately shouted to her subordinates, "Retreat quickly!" With that order, all the people of the Ghost King sect scattered in all directions. The fourth elder also chose a direction and quickly flew away. "Wanna run? Not so easy." Qin Haodong shouted and chased after the fourth elder. Niu Tsuehua and He Ziwei were afraid that something would happen to him, so they followed closely. The fourth elder exerted her cultivation to the extreme, but no matter how much she accelerated, she could not get rid of the three people behind her. After flying for a few hundred miles, Niu Tsuehua flashed and blocked in front of her. "Alright, stop running." The fourth elder gritted her teeth and attacked with all her strength. However, her cultivation was nothing in Niu Tsuehua's eyes. She raised her hand and slapped her to the ground. Qin Haodong walked over and looked at her. "Hand over the black demon pearl, and I will spare your life." When he realized that the fourth elder was Little Lark, he had already felt the aura of the black demon pearl from her. This was also the reason why he let the fourth elder escape. Otherwise, with Niu Tsuehua's cultivation, she could have been killed on the spot. He did not want the people of the Azure Dragon royal family to know that he had the black demon pearl. Therefore, Qin Haodong secretly transmitted a message to Niu Tsuehua and asked the fourth elder to run here. The purpose was to avoid the eyes of the Azure Dragon royal family. Although the fourth elder was wearing a mask, his eyes still flashed with astonishment. "I don't know what you're talking about. Our Ghost King sect is only here for the Earth Vein Spirit Fruit. We don't have any black demon beads." Qin Haodong smiled and said, "If you do that, then I'll have to do it myself." Fourth elder's expression turned sluggish. That was what he had said to threaten the Azure Dragon royal family earlier. He didn't expect for the tables to turn and fall on him in the blink of an eye. "Kid, don't forget that I'm from the Ghost King sect. Don't tell me you want to be enemies with the Ghost King sect?" Knowing that she was no match for him, she could only use the name of the Ghost King sect to scare him. "I don't care who you are. All I want is the black demon bead." The fourth elder gritted his teeth and said, "I really didn't." Qin Haodong turned around and said to Niu Tsuehua with a smile, "It seems that she wants to compete with you to see who has a fuller figure. Let's check it out." Niu Tsuehua reached out and picked up the fourth elder. She reached out and searched her body. Soon a black bead appeared in her hand. It was the black demon bead. She threw the black demon bead to Qin Haodong and said, "This woman who looks like a little bean sprout doesn't feel good to the touch at all. How can she be compared to me?" The fourth elder ignored her mockery and shouted, "This is what the Ghost King sect wants. If you take it away, you'll become enemies with the Ghost King sect. I'll spare you this time because you're a woman, but if you say another word, I won't be so good-tempered anymore." Qin Haodong took the black demon bead and played with it seriously. Although the fourth elder's eyes were full of anger, she didn't dare to say a word. She knew that the young man in front of her was not joking. If she said another word, she might lose her life. "Yes, this is it." Qin Haodong put away the black demon bead. Although he didn't know what it could do, it was better to have it in his hands than in the hands of the Ghost King sect. "Get lost. Don't let me see you again." After saying that, Qin Haodong took He Ziwei and Niu Tsuehua back to the side of the Azure Dragon royal family. The fourth elder looked at the backs of the three people with hatred and disappeared in an instant. Seeing that Qin Haodong and the other two had returned, Li Zhen said, "Where are they? Did you catch them?" He had brought people out this time and suffered heavy losses. If he brought back the fourth elder of the Ghost King sect, he could make up for his mistakes and might even be appreciated by his father. Qin Haodong shook his head and said, "The people of the Ghost King sect are very cunning. They ran away. That's a pity. Anyway, we have to thank you for saving us, little brother." Li Jun shook his head regretfully and said, "Let me introduce myself. I'm the eldest prince of the Azure Dragon Kingdom, Li Jun. And this is my sister Li Mingyao." Qin Haodong said with a smile, "There's no need to thank me. I'm charging for this." "Don't worry, I always keep my word," Li Jun said and took out 5 low-grade immortal crystals and handed them over. In fact, he was far from being open-minded. After taking out the 5 low-grade immortal crystals, he felt a pain in his heart. But he had no choice. The 3 people in front of him were more powerful than the people of the Ghost King sect. He didn't have the courage to go back on his word. Who knew if he would anger them and kill him? Qin Haodong put away the 5 immortal crystals and looked at Wang Minghai and Li Mingyao and said, "I'm a doctor. I can treat your injuries for free this time." Niu Tsuihua's face flashed with surprise. The other party was clearly her enemy. She didn't understand why he would treat their injuries. Of course, Qin Haodong wasn't overflowing with sympathy. He had his own plans. The purpose of this trip to the Azure Dragon Kingdom was to find the Azure Dragon Spirit Spring. Mixing with the people of the Azure Dragon royal family would not only save a lot of trouble, but also get more information. The most important thing was that Li Mingyao only had the strength of the middle stage of the integration stage. Even if her body was completely restored, she wouldn't be a threat to him at all. She was no different from a disabled person. It was the same for Wang Minghai. Even though he was in the middle stage of the Great Ascension stage, he couldn't even be compared to the early stage of the Great Ascension stage after losing an arm. If he could treat these 2 disabled people, he could gain the trust of the Azure Dragon royal family and get closer to the Crown Prince. No matter what, it was a good deal. Li Jun said in surprise, "Little brother, is what you said true? Can you really treat my sister's injuries?" "To me, this small injury is nothing." Qin Haodong looked at Li Mingyao and said, "If I'm not wrong, the second princess must have forcefully used some kind of secret technique, which resulted in such a huge loss of vitality. This kind of injury might be difficult for others, but it's nothing to me. I just need to replenish some vitality." Seeing that the other party didn't even need to feel her pulse to explain her injuries, Li Mingyao said in surprise, "Little doctor, can you really treat my injuries?" Even though the talisman she used to escape from the Vermilion Bird Kingdom could save her life, it consumed a lot of energy and damaged her vitality. If she didn't replenish her recovered vitality, not only would it be hard for her cultivation to improve in the future, she wouldn't even be able to keep her current cultivation. She could only become an ordinary person again. After she came back, she had seen 2 famous doctors, and they said that only the Earth Vein Spirit Fruit could replenish her lost vitality. But now that she had lost the Earth Vein Spirit Fruit, Qin Haodong's words gave her a glimmer of hope. "Of course, your injuries may be incurable to other doctors, but it's a piece of cake for me." In order to quickly gain the trust of the siblings, Qin Haodong wouldn't keep a low profile. He didn't have time to waste. Li Jun said, "Little brother, as long as you can treat my sister's illness, the Azure Dragon royal family will reward you handsomely." Li Mingyao said eagerly, "Little miracle doctor, when can you treat me? Do I need to prepare anything?" These few days, he had had enough of the feeling of weakness. He didn't have enough vitality and felt uncomfortable doing anything. "No need. I've brought all the medical equipment with me. I can treat you now," Qin Haodong said as he took out a bed sheet and laid it on the ground. Then he let Li Mingyao lie on it and took out the silver needles to treat her illness. The greenwood genuine qi originally had the effect of nourishing the body. At the same time, he secretly took out a small amount of meridian revitalization pill, mixed it with some flour, and gave it to Li Mingyao. The amount he used was very small. It was only enough for Li Mingyao to recover her vitality. It wouldn't affect her cultivation too much. Li Mingyao felt that after the silver needles were inserted, the circulation of the genuine qi and blood was getting faster and faster. Her dantian was warm and comfortable. She couldn't help but be overjoyed. It seemed that she had really met a miracle doctor. 20 minutes later, Qin Haodong took back the silver needles. "Sister, how do you feel?" Li Jun asked with concern. Li Mingyao jumped up. At this moment, She was full of vitality and spirit. She had completely returned to the state before she used the talisman. Moreover, her cultivation showed signs of breaking through to the late stage of body synthesis. Brother, the little miracle doctor's medical skills are really amazing. I've completely recovered. Qin Haodong put away the silver needles and said, "This time, I cured the second princess, but remember not to use those things that hurt vitality in the future." "Thank you for the reminder, little miracle doctor." Li Mingyao's attitude became much more respectful. Then she gritted her teeth and said, "This time, it's all because of that Qin guy. I'll make him pay sooner or later." Qin Haodong was secretly amused. He pretended to say, "I wonder who the second princess is talking about." "An enemy of the Azure Dragon royal family. Let's not talk about it." Li Zhen said, "The little miracle doctor has helped us so much. How should we address you?" "I'm Tang Long. They are my girlfriends Li Yingying and He Xiaoqian." Qin Haodong reported the name that he had already prepared. Li Zhen pointed to Wang Minghai and said, "Divine Dr. Tang's medical skills are really superb. Can you also treat our elder Wang?" "No problem. This kind of injury is the easiest to treat." Qin Haodong took out the silver needles again, suppressed Wang Minghai's injury, and gave him a healing elixir. Soon Wang Minghai's injury was completely healed. However, he had lost an arm, so his combat power was certainly not as good as before. Seeing that his younger sister and his right-hand men were all healed, Li Zhen gratefully said, "Divine Dr. Tang, can you come to my Azure Dragon royal family and stay for a few days? Let us, brother and sister, be the host and express our gratitude." "That's fine. We came out to travel. It's a good time to see the Azure Dragon royal city." After that, Qin Haodong followed Li Zhen and the others to the Azure Dragon royal city. Chapter 1007. Not long after they left, Li Mingyao leaned against Qin Haodong and said with a blushing face, "Brother Tang, can I call you that?" "Oh, second princess, you're too polite." Qin Haodong had always been fighting with Li Mingyao. He was not used to being so polite all of a sudden. "Brother Tang, you're my savior. You don't have to be so polite. Just call me Mingyao." Qin Haodong said, "That's not appropriate. I'll call you second princess." Niu Tsuehua pulled He Ziwei to the back and whispered, "Sister Ziwei, did you see that? This woman actually likes our husband." He Ziwei said in surprise, "How is that possible?" Niu Tsuehua waved her hand and made a shield around them with her powerful genuine qi. No one could hear their conversation. "It's not impossible. This silly woman doesn't know who we are, and that our husband is her most hated enemy." He Ziwei said worriedly, "What should we do? This identity is only temporary. We can't use it forever." Niu Tsuehua giggled and said, "That's what our husband has to worry about. It's best if he takes advantage of this woman and then kicks her out. That way, this vicious woman won't want to take revenge on us all the time." His guess was right. Li Mingyao really liked Qin Haodong. For so many years, there were countless people who pursued her. Some were young masters from rich families, but she had always been proud and had never liked anyone. But after seeing Qin Haodong pretending to be Tang Long, she finally fell for him. He had reached the Mahayana stage at such a young age and had amazing medical skills. There was no other man like him. Even Li Zhen, who was known as the Chosen One, reached the late stage of form synthesis at the age of 30, and he used a huge amount of resources from the Azure Dragon royal family. In comparison, this showed how excellent the man in front of her was. If she could be with this man, her position in the Azure Dragon Kingdom would be more stable. Li Mingyao said, "Brother Tang, it's really okay. I want to be with you. You can call me Mingyao in the future." "Oh, okay then." Qin Haodong also knew that he wouldn't have many chances to meet this woman in the future, so he didn't care. Li Mingyao said, "Brother Tang, if I'm not wrong, you have reached the Mahayana stage." Qin Haodong nodded and said, "Just the early stage." "That's already very impressive. As far as I know, even among the top geniuses of the four kingdoms, no one can reach the Deshang stage at this age. You are definitely a genius among geniuses." Li Mingyao's eyes flashed with love and admiration. She then said, "Big brother Tang, can you tell me how you cultivate?" "Brother Tang, can you tell me how you cultivate it?" "Look, I've only just reached the mid-body integration stage. I'm far inferior to you." Qin Haodong said, "There's no secret method. My cultivation is completely attributed to my master. Before he died, he used an exclusive secret method to impart his cultivation to me. That's why I have today's achievements. Otherwise, if I cultivate alone, even if I die, I may not reach the Deshang stage." Li Mingyao didn't doubt this statement at all. It was indeed difficult to reach the Great Ascension stage in one's 20s, if one only relied on self-cultivation. "Big brother Tang, you're really lucky to have such a teacher." After that, Li Mingyao kept talking, and Qin Haodong just responded to her. After half a day, the relationship between the two of them quickly became closer. "Big brother Tang, can I trouble you to take my pulse again? Let's see if my body has completely recovered." Li Mingyao took the initiative to hold Qin Haodong's hand. Of course, she wasn't doing this to check his pulse. Her body was in excellent condition, even better than before she was injured. The more she looked at the man in front of her, the more she liked him, but he didn't show too much. In her opinion, Qin Haodong must have taken the initiative to attack because of her identity. As for Niu Tsuehua and He Ziwei behind her, she automatically ignored them. She was the second princess of the Azure Dragon Kingdom. Although those two women were beautiful, how could they compare to her? As long as she was willing, she could definitely become the first wife. Of course, Qin Haodong didn't want to be too close to this woman. After feeling her pulse again, he withdrew his hand without a trace. "Your body has recovered quite well. There are no more problems." "Really? Then I have to thank Big Brother Tang." Lin Mingyao didn't have any intention of giving up. Instead, she moved closer to Qin Haodong. Li Zhen saw everything clearly from the side, and the corner of his mouth rose into a smile. He had a good impression of Qin Haodong. He was more outstanding than any of the youths in the Azure Dragon Kingdom. He was definitely a good match for his sister. The lowest cultivation level of the group was at the conjoint realm. They traveled very quickly and arrived at the Azure Dragon Kingdom in the evening. They landed on the ground. The Azure Dragon Kingdom also had a flight restriction array, so they couldn't fly. After seeing Li Zhen and Li Mingyao, the city guards took the initiative to salute and let them in. After entering the city, everyone couldn't help but sigh at the prosperity of the Azure Dragon Kingdom. The Azure Dragon Kingdom was the largest kingdom in the Lingwu continent, and the Azure Dragon Kingdom was also the most prosperous city. Li Zhen brought everyone to the Azure Dragon Kingdom's relay station and arranged for Qin Haodong and the other two to stay in a separate courtyard. It was the most luxurious residence in the entire relay station. "Little brother Tang, you can stay here for the next few days. If there's anything you need, just tell us, brother and sister." Qin Haodong nodded. "Thank you, Your Royal Highness." At this moment, a little eunuch hurriedly ran in from outside. After seeing Li Zhen and Li Mingyao, he said, "Your Highness the eldest prince, Your Highness the second princess, the king heard that you are back and wants you to enter the palace immediately." Li Zhen said, "Little brother Tang, you guys rest here first. I'll go to the palace to see my father." After saying that, he left the relay station with Li Mingyao and rushed to the Azure Dragon Palace. Qin Haodong entered the room and said to Niu Tsuehua and He Ziwei, "Come, I'll show you something interesting." After saying that, he set up a few restrictions in the room and took out a laptop from his storage ring. He turned on the computer, and an image appeared on the screen. It was Li Zhen and Li Mingyao. Sitting opposite them was a middle-aged couple. The man was in his 40s or 50s and looked very dignified. Sitting next to him was a middle-aged woman in her 30s. Although she was sitting there with a solemn expression, she still couldn't hide the charm she exuded. These two people were the Azure Dragon Kingdom's King Li Guangyao and Queen Chao Yuhuan. Seeing the scene on the screen, Niu Tsuehua and He Ziwei were both shocked. "Husband, what kind of artifact is this? Is this clairvoyance?" Niu Tsuehua asked in surprise. She could see that every move on the opposite side had just happened, and even the voice of the conversation could be heard clearly. This was simply a new understanding of her. She didn't know how Qin Haodong did it. Qin Haodong said, "This is not an artifact but high-tech." Just when Li Mengyao was trying to get close to him, he installed a miniature camera on Li Mengyao's body to see if he could find some information about the Azure Dragon Spirit Spring. This miniature camera was given to him by Hu Shaoxian. It was the latest high-tech product developed by the Xianyuan Pavilion. Although this thing looked very small, it had its own signal transmission function. There would be no problem within 100 kilometers, and it could be used in any bad conditions. His laptop was a matching receiver that could receive all the signals from the opposite side. Ziwei asked in confusion, "What is high-tech?" Qin Haodong felt helpless. These two people knew nothing about the technology on Earth, so there was no way to explain it clearly. However, it was also for this reason that he could successfully install it on Li Mengyao's body. In the Lingwu continent, as a cultivator, he would always pay attention to whether someone had left a divine sense mark on his body, and he would not pay attention to something like a miniature camera at all. "It was left to me by my master. I don't know much about it. You just need to know that everything we see is happening outside." Since there was no way to explain it, he could only blame it on his non-existent master. Oh, the two women didn't ask any more questions and looked at the screen together. Niu Tsuehua sighed and said, "This thing is really magical. We can see clearly what the opposite side is doing. Even a divine artifact can't do this." At this time, Li Guangyao on the screen said, "Zhener Mingyao, how was your trip this time? Did it go well?" "Father, this time I went to the Vermilion Bird Kingdom to participate in the Four Nations Exchange, but it didn't go well at all, and I suffered heavy losses. I was the only one who came back alive from the whole Azure Dragon Institute." Li Mengyao told her father what had happened. Then she gritted her teeth and said, "Father, it's all that damn Qin Haodong's fault. You must help me." Chao Yuhuan said, "Your Majesty, it's really outrageous. Someone dares to bully our Azure Dragon Kingdom." Li Guangyao said with a gloomy expression, "A little boy dares to go against our Azure Dragon Kingdom. Don't worry, daughter. I will definitely avenge you." Seeing this, Niu Tsuehua said with a smile, "Husband, she wants to take revenge on you. It seems that it's not easy to be the emperor's son-in-law." Qin Haodong raised his hand and patted her plump area. "Watch carefully and don't talk nonsense." Niu Tsuehua looked at him charmingly, then raised her hand and patted Ziwei's plump area. "Husband, why only hit her? I'll hit Sister Ziwei for you." Ziwei said with a blushing face, "Sister Tsuehua, you bullied me. I didn't make you unhappy. Why did you hit me?" Niu Tsuehua said with a smile, "This is called sharing blessings and difficulties. When you ask me to do something good, I'll call you." Qin Haodong said, "Don't mess around. Let's see what they say first." At this time, Li Guangyao said again, "Zhener, how did it go when you took the three elders out this time?" Chapter 1008. I had a bad start this time. Not only did I not get the Earth Vein Spirit Fruit, but I also suffered a great loss. Please punish me, Royal Father. Li Zhen told his father about his journey to Sky Thunder Mountain. Hearing this, Li Guangyao's face darkened. Li Mengyao was humiliated in the Vermilion Bird Kingdom. Now that they were in the Azure Dragon Kingdom's jurisdiction, someone dared to make a move on the Azure Dragon Kingdom's royal family. He asked angrily, "Someone dared to snatch the Earth Vein Spirit Fruit from your hands. Do you know who it is?" Li Zhen said, "I'm not sure yet. That person and the Earth Vein Spirit Fruit have mysteriously disappeared. I'll arrange for someone to investigate this. No one can humiliate our royal family in the Azure Dragon Kingdom's territory," Li Guangyao said. "The person must have been prepared and is an expert. This matter cannot be blamed on you. I'll exempt you from punishment." "Thank you, Royal Father," Li Zhen said again. "There's one more thing I need to report to Royal Father. Recently, traces of the Ghost King sect have been appearing in our Azure Dragon Kingdom. He told his father about Lu Xiaoyao's encounter with the Ghost King sect's 5th and 6th elders, and his encounter with the 3rd and 4th elders on his way back. When Qin Haodong said that the 5th patriarch and the 6th patriarch were all killed by Qin Haodong, and the 3rd patriarch and the 4th patriarch escaped with injuries, Qin Haodong keenly found that there was a subtle change in Queen Chao Yuhuan's eyes. The change in her eyes was very subtle, and ordinary people wouldn't be able to see it. What surprised Qin Haodong was that Chao Yuhuan's eyes were filled with shock and regret, which surprised him quite. Could it be that Chao Yuhuan wanted the 3rd and 4th elders to kill Li Zhen and Li Mingyao? This was a possibility. There were always all kinds of schemes in the royal palace. Qin Haodong didn't care about this. Whether Li Zhen and Li Mingyao died or not had nothing to do with him. He only cared about getting information about the Azure Dragon Spirit Spring. Li Guangyao said. The Ghost King sect sent out their core elders and dared to make a move on the Azure Dragon Kingdom. What are they trying to do? Are they crazy? Chao Yuhuan said. Your Majesty, it's not a big deal. It's just a few clowns from the Ghost King sect. Maybe they just want the Earth Vein Spirit Fruit. Li Zhen said. Father, the purpose of the people of the Ghost King sect coming to Little Azure Dragon City is to snatch the Black Demon Bead. I've heard about the Black Demon Bead a long time ago. I heard that it's related to the alien demon tribe, but I don't know why the Ghost King sect wants it. Li Guangyao nodded and said, in the future, I will ask people to pay more attention to the Ghost King sect's movements. Li Mingyao said, Father, actually we also gained something this time. Oh, tell me what you've gained. It's like this, Father. Brother Wang and I were able to escape from the clutches of the Ghost King sect because of Dr. Tang Long, Brother Wang, and I have already brought him to the Azure Dragon Kingdom. Dr. Tang is definitely a talent. I hope that Lord Father can keep him here. At this point, Li Mingyao's cheeks flushed. Chao Yuhuan was old and shrewd. She immediately noticed the difference. She smiled and said, Does our second princess have someone she likes? It seems that our Azure Dragon Kingdom is going to have another son-in-law. Li Guangyao's expression eased up a lot, and a faint smile appeared at the corner of his mouth. I don't know what kind of person it is to be able to make our Mingyao favor him so much. Li Mingyao said shyly. Lord Father, Brother Tang is indeed a talent. He's only in his 20s, but he already has the cultivation of the Great Ascension stage. Moreover, his medical skills are simply godly. My injuries and Elder Wang's injuries were all healed by him. What did you say? He has already reached the Great Ascension stage in his 20s? Li Guangyao's face revealed a trace of astonishment. Although he looked like he was only in his 40s or 50s, his actual age had already reached 100 years old. He was an expert in the late stage of the Great Ascension stage, but he had only reached the Great Ascension stage when he was 50 years old. He had even broken the record of the Azure Dragon Kingdom's fastest cultivation advancement. To be able to reach the Great Ascension stage in his 20s, such a person could only be described as a genius, not to mention that he was also proficient in medical skills. Li Mingyao said, Yes, Brother Tang has indeed reached the Great Ascension stage. According to him, his cultivation was bestowed upon him by his master before he died. Li Guangyao said, That sounds reasonable. Li Zhen said, Father, I don't think we can fully believe this. Because Tang Long's woman Li Xiaoqian has a higher cultivation, she may have reached the late stage of the Great Ascension stage. The third elder of the Ghost King sect was defeated by her, and she looks very young. Li Guangyao's expression immediately became very serious. A powerful expert in the late stage of the Great Ascension stage could definitely be taken seriously by any force. He pondered for a moment and said, They have such a heaven-defying cultivation at such a young age, and some of their origins are unknown. We must treat them with caution and investigate their background. If they can be of use to us, we must rope them in at all costs. If they have ulterior motives, we must kill them as soon as possible. Li Zhen and Li Mingyao said in unison, Father is right. I understand. Let's put this aside for now. There are more important things for you to do. Li Guangyao said, There has been some movement in the Medicine God Valley of Mount Qingling recently. If my guess is correct, it will open in 3 days. What? The Medicine God Valley is opening? This is a great thing. Li Jun and Li Mingyao's faces were filled with excitement. According to the legends, the Medicine God Valley was an ancient relic passed down by the Almighty Medicine God. Not only were there many elixirs, but there were also many opportunities. Everyone who entered the Medicine God Valley would obtain great benefits. Although the Medicine God Valley was good, the opportunities were limited. It only opened once every 100 years. According to the previous estimate, this year was the opening year, but the specific time could not be determined. Since there had been some movement recently, it seemed that the opening day was not far away. This is indeed an opportunity for our Azure Dragon royal family, Li Guangyao said. However, one must have enough strength to enter the Medicine God Valley. After all, this kind of ancient relic has both opportunities and dangers. There are still 3 days to prepare. You too should immediately enter the Azure Dragon Spirit Spring to cultivate. The higher your cultivation, the better. Yes, Father. We will immediately rush to the Azure Dragon Spirit Spring. I will not disappoint you. Li Jun and Li Mingyao agreed in unison. After a few more words, they left the palace. On Qin Haodong's side, after hearing the news, he suddenly became excited. After waiting in front of the computer for so long, he finally got the news of the Azure Dragon Spirit Spring. He asked Niu Tsuehua, "What is the situation with the Medicine God Valley?" After Niu Tsuehua explained the situation, she said, "The Medicine God Valley can be said to be the most attractive ancient relic in the Lingwu continent. Once it opens, I am afraid that it will immediately attract powerful warriors from all over the continent. However, there are many opportunities inside. We should also go in and take a look." Qin Haodong nodded and said, "We will go to the Medicine God Valley, but the most important thing is to go to the Azure Dragon Spirit Spring to improve our cultivation." Niu Tsuehua's face revealed a rare serious expression. "Although the Azure Dragon Spirit Spring is good, I am afraid that it will not be easy to cultivate quietly. Li Jun and Li Mingyao will soon enter there to cultivate. If there is even the slightest movement, they will immediately sense it. Moreover, the Azure Dragon Kingdom is after all the most powerful kingdom in the Lingwu continent. There are many powerful warriors, much more powerful than the Vermilion Bird Kingdom." Qin Haodong frowned. He also felt that this was indeed a problem. Even if he could absorb the spirit qi at an astonishing speed, there was still a process, and he could not be disturbed in the middle. However, since this was a rare opportunity, he could not let it go. "Don't worry about that. Let's go and take a look first," Qin Haodong said to the two. Same old method. You two enter the 7th stage pagoda first. I will secretly follow Li Jun. Niu Tsuehua and He Ziwei nodded, and the two entered the 7th stage pagoda together. Qin Haodong set up an illusion array in the room, making it look like the three were asleep, and then quietly left the station. After leaving the station, he quickly found Li Mingyao's location, according to the signal sent back by the micro camera. He quietly followed behind the two. At this moment his mood was getting more and more excited. If he could successfully absorb the Azure Dragon Spirit Spring, and then take a walk around the Medicine God Valley, he should be able to reach the late Mahayana, or peak Mahayana. There was a great possibility that he could reopen the space seal to Earth and reunite with his family. After coming to the Lingwu continent for so long, this was the first time he felt so close to home. After Li Jun and Li Mingyao left the palace, they did not bring any guards with them. The two rushed out of the Azure Dragon Royal City, completely unaware that someone was quietly following them. About an hour later, they arrived at a mountain range. The spirit chi here was very dense. It was the location of the Azure Dragon Spirit Spring. "What are you doing?" As the two approached, a middle-aged man of about 50 years old came up with a dozen guards. He was the guardian of the Azure Dragon Spirit Spring, Zhou Kuan. After seeing this person, Qin Haodong became more cautious. This Zhou Kuan turned out to be a mid-stage Mahayana expert. He was also the guardian of the Vermilion Bird Spirit Spring, but the guardian of the Vermilion Bird Spirit Spring was only at the peak of body integration. The gap between the two kingdoms was obvious. Li Jun said, "General Zhou, it's me." Zhou Kuan also recognized Li Jun and Li Mingyao. He quickly stepped forward and said, "This subordinate greets the eldest prince and second princess. No need to be polite. We are here to cultivate. Your Royal Highness, please follow me." Zhou Kuan led the way, leading the two into the Azure Dragon Spirit Spring. Qin Haodong used an invisibility talisman and tried his best to hide his aura, quietly following behind. The Azure Dragon Spirit Spring was the largest spirit spring in the entire Lingwu continent. In terms of area, it was twice as large as the Vermilion Bird Spirit Spring. The spirit chi it contained was also very dense. After arriving above the spirit spring, Li Jun said, "You can leave first. We are going to start cultivating." "Yes, Your Royal Highness, I will guard the surroundings. If you need anything, just call me," Zhou Kuan said and left, but he did not go far. He took out a tea table outside the Azure Dragon Spirit Spring and sat there quietly drinking tea. After all, this was a place for the prince and princess to cultivate together. He had to be careful here. He could not make any mistakes. "Mengyao, let's start cultivating. Let's strive to reach another level this time," Li Jun said and sat cross-legged above the spirit spring, ready to enter a state of cultivation. But just as he closed his eyes, the back of his head was poked by a finger. Then he lost consciousness. Li Mengyao felt something was wrong. She turned her head to look, but before she could see what happened, she was also poked by a finger. Chapter 1009. Qin Haodong knocked the two unconscious and placed them next to the spiritual pond. Looking at the green dragon spiritual spring, which was the size of a small man-made lake, he couldn't help but worry. It was obviously unrealistic to absorb it here. There was a mid-stage Mahayana realm expert standing guard next to him. He was afraid that he would soon notice that something was wrong. "Looks like I can only try this method." He had already thought about it on the way here. He would try to see if he could absorb the green dragon spiritual spring into the pagoda. If he succeeded, he could take the spring water away and slowly cultivate in the future. After making up his mind, he locked onto the green dragon spiritual spring water in front of him with his primordial spirit and absorbed it into the pagoda. Because there was too much spring water in front of him, he didn't know if he could succeed. After he started, the spring water in the green dragon pond started to decrease at a speed visible to the naked eye. Niu Tsuehua and He Ziwei were resting when they suddenly saw a clear waterfall gushing in from the outside. It continuously poured into the pagoda, filling the entire pagoda with dense spiritual energy. Qin Haodong was overjoyed. Although he couldn't collect all the spring water at once, the speed was much faster than his own cultivation. Based on the current speed, he estimated that he would be able to absorb 90% of the spring water in 2 to 3 minutes. Zhou Kuan sat next to the green dragon spiritual spring and slowly tasted the tea in his cup. The tea leaves were picked next to the green dragon spiritual spring and were nourished by the dense spiritual energy all year round. One sip of the tea made him feel warm all over. But at this moment his expression changed slightly. As a mid-stage Mahayana realm expert, he could keenly feel that the density of the surrounding spiritual energy had decreased a lot. "Looks like the eldest prince and second princess cultivation is progressing very quickly," he thought as he poured another cup of tea. But after just 2 to 3 minutes, he felt that something was wrong. The surrounding spiritual energy had decreased drastically again, and it was even more intense than before. What was going on? Even if he cultivated in the green dragon spiritual spring, he wouldn't be able to absorb it so quickly. Oh no, something must have happened. The news of the Vermilion Bird spiritual spring being looted had spread throughout the Lingwu continent. All the kingdoms had strengthened their defenses, and he had been sent here after that. Thinking of this, he immediately put down the teacup and appeared above the green dragon spiritual spring. When he arrived at this place, he was so shocked that he almost fell from the sky due to the fluctuations in his mind. The Azure Dragon Spirit Spring, which was originally like a small lake, was now less than a foot deep. Li Jun and Li Mengyao, the two of them, did not cultivate and were lying unconscious on the side. What's going on? Zhou Kun felt like he was going crazy. From the time he left until now, only 5 minutes had passed. How could there be such a huge change in the Azure Dragon spiritual spring? Where did all the spiritual spring water go? He couldn't possibly disappear without a trace, right? But the truth was right in front of him. There was no one around, and there was only a little bit of spring water left. After recovering from his shock, he immediately took out an alarm arrow and fired it. Then with a long whistle, he alerted the surrounding guards. Hearing the alarm, countless silhouettes appeared around the Azure Dragon spiritual spring, rushing over. "General, what happened?" The guards came to the side of the spirit spring water. When they saw that there was not much spirit spring water left, they turned pale with fright. This was simply unimaginable. How could they lose so much spirit spring water? Zhou Kun sternly shouted, "Immediately seal off the entire Azure Dragon spiritual spring. Do not allow anyone to enter or leave. Then search carefully. Even if an ant comes in from the outside, you must find it for me." "Yes, General." The guards answered and immediately entered a tense state of alert. Such a big thing happened to the Azure Dragon spiritual spring, and each of them could not escape the blame. At this time, Qin Haodong was already standing outside the Azure Dragon spiritual spring. Looking at the beautiful fireworks in the sky, he couldn't help but sneer. Then, his figure disappeared into the night sky. After everything was done, Zhou Kun woke Li Zhen and Li Mengyao up and asked, "Eldest prince, second princess, what happened? Who knocked you out?" "I don't know either. Just as I was about to cultivate, my acupoints were sealed." Li Zhen slowly opened his eyes. Seeing the Azure Dragon spiritual spring in front of him, he immediately turned pale with fright. He jumped up and shouted, "What happened? Where's the spring water?" Zhou Kun said in annoyance, "I don't know either. From the moment the eldest prince and the second princess came here, I felt the spiritual energy drop drastically. When I came here, I saw this scene. What the hell? So much spirit spring water suddenly disappeared." Li Mengyao also regained her consciousness and shouted, "Someone must be playing tricks." The spring water of the Vermilion Bird spiritual spring was also lost in the same way. Zhou Kun said, "I also know that someone must be hiding in the dark, but I don't understand what method he used to take away the spring water. Could it be absorbed? That's impossible. Even an immortal can't absorb it so quickly." Li Zhen and Li Mengyao were also confused. Even if they broke their skulls, they still couldn't figure out how the spring water of the Azure Dragon spiritual spring disappeared. At this time, the entire Azure Dragon Imperial City was in an uproar. Li Guangyao was just about to do some love things with Chao Yuhuan when he suddenly received the alarm from the Azure Dragon spiritual spring. He was immediately shocked. He knew that the Vermilion Bird spiritual spring was stolen. Knowing that the situation was urgent, he immediately disappeared from the room and rushed towards the direction of the Azure Dragon spiritual spring with his fastest speed. Behind him, countless experts also soared into the sky from the Imperial City and rushed over. When Li Guangyao arrived above the Azure Dragon spirit spring and saw that it was almost empty, he felt like his lungs were going to explode from anger. He yelled angrily, "Zhou Kun, tell me, what is going on here? This subordinate deserves to die." Zhou Kun quickly came in front of Li Guangyao and told him what happened. Li Guangyao angrily said, "You said that in less than half a cup of tea's time, our Azure Dragon spiritual spring was emptied." Zhou Kun said, "It's like this, Your Majesty." Li Guangyao asked, "Did you find out who did it?" Zhou Kun lowered his head and said, "Your Majesty, our subordinates have already plowed the entire vicinity of the Azure Dragon spiritual spring. It can be said that they dug 3 feet into the ground, but they didn't find anything suspicious." "Bastard! Could it be that this king's Azure Dragon spiritual spring grew wings and flew away by itself?" Li Guangyao was enraged. His powerful aura made the surrounding people shiver. No one dared to make a sound. "Your Majesty, please don't be angry. This concubine has a guess." While speaking, Chao Yuhuan appeared behind Li Guangyao. Li Guangyao waved his hand to dismiss the surrounding people, leaving only a few core members behind. He then asked, "Do you know who did it?" Although this concubine doesn't know, I can provide your majesty with some speculations. Li Guangyao said. Tell me, who is the biggest suspect? Chao Yuhuan said. Your majesty, this concubine can provide you with a few references. First, why didn't anything happen to the Azure Dragon's spiritual spring before? But something happened to the crown prince and second princess when they came back. Just as she finished speaking, Li Zhen said with dissatisfaction, Imperial Mother, do you think this son did it? Although he was the crown prince, he wasn't Chao Yuhuan's biological son. The two of them might look harmonious on normal days, but the truth was they weren't. Don't be anxious, let me finish. Chao Yuhuan continued. The time is a little bit, and to be able to quietly steal so much Azure Dragon spiritual spring water, it can be seen that his cultivation is at least above the Mahayana stage. If you combine these 2 points together, it's easy to guess who the person who recently followed the crown prince to our Azure Dragon royal city with this kind of ability is. After listening to him, Li Mingyao's expression changed. You mean Brother Tang did it? Li Guangyao's expression also changed, and everyone's eyes focused on Chao Yuhuan. I'm just offering a guess. For so many years, nothing has happened to the Azure Dragon spiritual spring, but something happened to Tang Long when he just came here. He is in the early Mahayana stage, and the woman beside him is in the late Mahayana stage. Needless to say, they are the biggest suspects. But it's impossible for Brother Tang to do this kind of thing, and even if he wanted to do it, there's no way he could steal so much spiritual spring water at once. After so many years, this was the first time Li Mingyao had taken a fancy to a man. From the bottom of her heart, she didn't want Tang Long to do this. Li Guangyao said, Queen is right. Tang Long is the biggest suspect in this matter. We'll find out if he did it or not. After saying that, he arranged for Zhou Kuan and the others to continue guarding here, and then led the other experts back to the Azure Dragon Royal City in a hurry. After returning to the relay station in the Azure Dragon Royal City, Qin Haodong removed the illusory formation, and then summoned Niu Cuihua and He Ziwei from the 7th stage pagoda. Niu Cuihua cried out excitedly, Husband, you're really amazing. You actually stored the Azure Dragon spiritual spring water in the 7th stage pagoda. How did you think of this? Qin Haodong said, Let's not talk about this first. Let's quickly get ready. I think the people from the Azure Dragon Kingdom will be here soon. He Ziwei said, Are you saying that the Azure Dragon royal family will suspect us? Qin Haodong nodded and said, Of course. After all, they don't know our background, and the time of the incident was when we just arrived at the Azure Dragon Royal City. It will definitely cause suspicion. He Ziwei said nervously, Then what should we do? Since we've already obtained the Azure Dragon spiritual spring, let's quickly leave this place. Qin Haodong shook his head and said, Leaving now is the worst plan. The Medicine God Valley is about to open. If we leave, it will definitely arouse the suspicion of the Azure Dragon royal family. At that time, it will be difficult to enter the Medicine God Valley. He Ziwei said, But if we don't leave, what if the Azure Dragon royal family attacks us? Up until now, they should only be suspecting us. The spring water is hidden in the 7th stage pagoda, and won't reveal anything. If they don't have evidence, they won't easily attack a Great Ascension stage expert. Qin Haodong said, Moreover, we can attack or retreat at will. Cuihua's cultivation is now at the late stage of the Great Ascension stage. Even if we can't beat them, we can still rush out. In addition, we have the 7th stage pagoda as our trump card. At worst, we can hide in the pagoda. Hearing this, He Ziwei's emotions calmed down a lot. Alright, what we need to do now is to go to bed. After saying this, Qin Haodong pulled the two of them to lie on the big bed. Chapter 10:10. Excuse me, who is Dr. Tang Long? Although the old eunuch's voice was a bit sharp and unpleasant, he was still very polite. Qin Haodong said, I am. What can I do for you? The old eunuch said, I'm Zhao Pu, the chief steward of the palace. The queen asked me to invite you to the palace. Qin Haodong was slightly stunned. He had never met the queen before. Why did she ask him to go to the palace? He asked. Chief Steward Zhao, may I ask why the queen wants to see me? Zhao Pu said, I'm just a servant. How dare I inquire about the queen's affairs? Qin Haodong thought for a moment and said, Chief Steward Zhao, please wait a moment. I'll arrange something and go to the palace with you right away. As the chief steward of the palace, Zhao Pu was best at observing people's expressions. He said, Dr. Tang, hurry up. I'll wait for you outside. Then he retreated out of the room and gave Qin Haodong some privacy. As soon as he went out, Niu Tsuehua said with a smile, Husband, you're really amazing. First, you hooked up with the second princess of the Azure Dragon Kingdom. Now even the queen likes you. She wants to summon you to the palace in the middle of the night. Don't mess around, Qin Haodong said seriously. I've long felt that there's something wrong with the queen, but I'm not sure what the problem is. Hearing this, Iziwei suddenly became nervous. Haodong, why don't we leave the Azure Dragon Kingdom? I don't feel safe here. What if that woman wants to hurt you? Niu Tsuehua said. There are only 2 days left before the Medicine God Valley opens. It's a pity to leave now. Besides, we're just guessing what that woman wants to do. Maybe she wants to propose marriage to the second princess. Qin Haodong said. Well, let's be prepared. If she really wants to propose marriage to the second princess, I'll postpone it for a few days. After we enter the Medicine God Valley, we'll leave the Azure Dragon Kingdom. If there's any conspiracy, we'll have to kill our way out of the Azure Dragon Kingdom. He had enough confidence now. After reaching the late stage of the Mahayana realm, he was invincible among his peers. As long as there were no masters at the peak of the Mahayana realm in the Azure Dragon Kingdom, they wouldn't pose any threat to him. Niu Tsuehua nodded and said, That's a good idea. Sister Ziwei and I will hide in the 7th stage pagoda. The 3 of us will enter the palace together. If something goes wrong, we'll kill our way out of the Azure Dragon Royal City together. Sure. After the 3 of them finished discussing, Qin Haodong teleported them into the 7th stage pagoda and pushed the door open. Steward Zhao, we can go now. Zhao Pu led the way and took Qin Haodong out of the post station to the bedroom of the Empress, Chao Yuhuan. After entering the room, there was only Chao Yuhuan sitting there alone. For some reason, although this woman did not show any expression on her face, she gave off a kind of bone-deep charm. After Qin Haodong entered the room, she waved to Zhao Pu. Zhao Pu immediately understood and left, closing the door behind him. Qin Haodong's heart tightened. What was this woman going to do? Could it be that Her Majesty was using the same trick? Back in the Black Tortoise Palace, Queen Wu Yuanyang had used this trick to frame him. Her Majesty, may I ask why you called me here? Chao Yuhuan did not speak. She only smiled slightly, and in an instant, she was so charming that any man who saw her would be swayed. This woman was really too charming. He really did not know why Li Guangyao chose her as His Majesty. She walked step by step to Qin Haodong, twisting her sexy body and turning around. Finally, she raised her hand and touched Qin Haodong's chin. Little guy, not bad. You're very skilled. Qin Haodong took 2 steps back and put on a panicked expression. He asked, I don't know what Your Majesty means. Chao Yuhuan giggled. You don't have to pretend in front of this old mother. In the Vermilion Bird Kingdom, he killed Li Tianxiong, Li Tianba and Li Tianqua, 3 masters of the Deshang stage. In the Little Azure Dragon City, he killed the 5th elder and 6th elder of the Ghost King sect. In the Sky Thunder Mountain, he snatched the Earth Vein Spirit Fruit under the nose of the first prince. I have to say that your methods are indeed outrageous. You've done so many things to the Azure Dragon Royal family, and yet you still dare to come to the Azure Dragon Royal City, seducing that last Li Mingyao so much that her soul has left her body. Qin Haodong was shocked. He did not expect this woman to know so much. What happened? How did he expose himself? Could it be that his disguise was not working? That was impossible. After a moment of absent-mindedness, he regained his composure. With his current strength, it was not a big deal even if he was seen through by the other party. At most, he could kill his way out of the Azure Dragon Palace. However, there was a trace of doubt in his heart. Since this woman had already seen through his identity, why didn't she expose him in front of Li Guangyao? Instead, she secretly invited him to the palace. Was this a trap for him, or did she have other intentions? Although he thought so, he still looked calm on the surface. Your Majesty, I'm just a doctor. I don't know what you mean. It's true that you're a doctor, but you're also Qin Haodong, the enemy of the Azure Dragon royal family. Qiao Yuhuan said this, but the smile on her face grew brighter. Little guy, don't pretend in front of me. There's no use in pretending. All right then. Since your Majesty says so, I'll admit it. Qin Haodong smiled and said, but I'm very curious. How did your Majesty see through me? Could it be that my disguise revealed a flaw? Qiao Yuhuan shook her head and smiled. No, your disguise is very good. You can pass off the fake as the real one without any flaws. Qin Haodong asked. Then what's the problem? Because I can feel the aura of the black demon pearl on you. And there's more than one. Qiao Yuhuan said. Today I'll give you two choices. Either hand over all the black demon pearls to me, or I'll expose your identity. With the hatred the Azure Dragon royal family has for you. As long as they know you're Qin Haodong, I'm afraid you and your companions won't be able to leave this place alive. Qin Haodong was shocked. The black demon pearl had always been in his storage ring. He did not know how this woman sensed it. If he had known that this would happen, he would have directly stored it in the 7th Order Pagoda. Seeing that he was stunned and silent, Qiao Yuhuan seemed to be quite satisfied with the effect she had caused. She smiled and said, Which one are you going to choose? Qin Haodong said, Are you threatening me? Don't I have the right to threaten you? Qiao Yuhuan said, If I were you, I'd obediently hand over the black demon pearl. After all, that thing is useless to you. Comparatively speaking, those two delicate beauties should be more worthy of your cherishing. Qin Haodong smiled and said, You're right. You really don't have the right to threaten me. Qiao Yuhuan was slightly stunned. She then said, Kid, do you know what you're talking about? Once I reveal your identity, the Azure Dragon royal family will never let you go. What awaits you will be 1,000 cuts. Qin Haodong said with a playful expression. But what if I reveal your identity? The second elder of the Ghost King sect. Qiao Yuhuan's expression changed drastically. She no longer had the coquettish demeanor from before. She said coldly, Kid, what nonsense are you talking about? Am I wrong? Qin Haodong said indifferently. I've seen 8 of the 9 great elders of the Ghost King sect, and some of them died in my hands. Only the second elder is left. Qiao Yuhuan said, What does that have to do with me? Qin Haodong said, Only the people of the Ghost King sect try their best to get the black demon pearl. You know the situation of the Ghost King sect so well. Obviously, you must be a member of the Ghost King sect. And you've reached the late stage of Deshang, which is a cultivation that only the second elder and the Ghost King sect master can reach. And the Ghost King sect master can't run here to be a queen. There's only one answer. You're the second elder of the Ghost King sect. He was also quite shocked by this guess. No wonder the woman was shocked when she heard the news of the 5th and 6th elders' deaths. They were in cahoots. When the elders of the Ghost King sect came out, they all wore masks and didn't show their true faces. It turned out that they all had different hidden identities. Take the second elder for example. Even Niu Tsuehua didn't know her, which showed that her identity was deeply hidden. Yes, you're really smart. You can even guess this. Speaking of this, Qiao Yuhuan's expression instantly became extremely sinister. But people who are too smart always don't live long. In this world, except for the sect master, everyone who knows my identity is dead. You're no exception. Qin Haodong didn't panic at all. If he met the second elder of the Ghost King sect a day ago, he would probably have to run away. But now it was different. They were both at the late stage of Deshang, and he was invincible among his peers. Qiao Yuhuan didn't know this at all. She thought she had the other party. Qin Haodong said, What, are you going to kill me? Don't you want the black demon pearl? Qiao Yuhuan said, I can also get the black demon pearl if I kill you. Then she stretched out her hand, and directly used the Ghost King sect's unique skill, the Netherworld Ghost Claw. A huge ghost claw grabbed at Qin Haodong's head. In her opinion, Qin Haodong, who was only at the early stage of Deshang, was no match for her at all. He could only be obediently suppressed. Unexpectedly, Qin Haodong punched out and instantly shattered the netherworld ghost's claw. The momentum of the confrontation between the two masters of Deshang was amazing. The huge strength instantly collapsed the surrounding palace. Chao Yuhuan was shocked and hurriedly dodged back, but it was too late. Qin Haodong's fist did not stop after penetrating the nether ghost's claw, and the wind of the fist heavily hit her towering chest. She was hit and flew backward in an instant. She even heard the sound of her sternum breaking, and a large mouthful of blood spurted out. Chao Yuhuan flew dozens of meters away and hit the pillar behind her. This punch had made her completely lose the ability to resist. She struggled to get up from the ground and exclaimed, You're also at the late stage of Deshang? How is it possible? How did your cultivation improve so fast? Qin Haodong sneered and said, If you want to know, ask the King of Hell. Just as he was about to step forward and kill the second elder with one punch, a powerful momentum suddenly came from behind him. Outside the palace, there were also countless figures rushing in this direction. They're really fast. Qin Haodong didn't want to be trapped. He jumped up, directly pierced a big hole in the roof, and then disappeared into the night. Chapter 10-11. Qin Haodong was slightly stunned. He had never been in contact with the queen. Why did she ask him to enter the palace? He asked. Chief Steward Zhao, may I ask why Her Majesty is looking for me? Zhao Pu replied. As a servant, how could I dare inquire about the Empress affairs? Qin Haodong thought for a moment and said, Director Zhao, please wait a moment. I'll arrange something and go to the palace with you right away. As the Minister of Internal Affairs of the palace, Zhao Pu was best at observing people's expressions. He said, Dr. Tang, hurry up. I'll wait for you outside. After that, he stepped out of the room and gave Qin Haodong some privacy. As soon as he left, Niu Tsuehua giggled and said, Husband, you're really amazing. First, you seduced the Azure Dragon Kingdom's second princess, and now even Her Majesty the Queen has taken a fancy to you. She wants to summon you to the palace in the middle of the night. Don't mess around, Qin Haodong said seriously. I've long felt that there was something wrong with the queen, but I'm not sure what the problem is. Hearing this, He Ziwei immediately became nervous. Haodong, why don't we leave the Azure Dragon Royal City? I don't feel safe here. What if that woman wants to harm you? Niu Tsuehua said. There are only 2 days left before the opening of the Medicine God Valley sect. It would be a shame to leave now. Besides, we can only guess what that woman wants to do. Maybe she wants to propose marriage to the second princess. Qin Haodong said, Well, let's make preparations. If it's really a marriage proposal for the second princess, I'll postpone it for a few days. After we enter the Medicine God Valley sect, we will leave the Azure Dragon Kingdom. If there's any conspiracy, we have no choice but to kill our way out of the Azure Dragon Royal City. Now he was confident that he would be invincible among those of the same rank after his cultivation reached the late stage of the Great Ascension Realm. As long as there were no experts at the peak of the Great Ascension Realm in the Azure Dragon Royal City, they would not be a threat to him. Niu Tsuehua nodded and said, That's a good idea. Sister Ziwei and I will hide in the 7th stage pagoda. The 3 of us will enter the palace together. If something goes wrong, we'll kill our way out of the Azure Dragon Royal City together. Sure. After the 3 of them finished discussing, Qin Haodong teleported them into the 7th stage pagoda and pushed the door open. Steward Zhao, we can go now. Zhao Pu led the way and took Qin Haodong out of the post station to the bedroom of the Empress, Chao Yuhuan. After entering the room, there was only Chao Yuhuan sitting there alone. For some reason, although this woman did not show any expression on her face, she gave off a kind of bone-deep charm. After Qin Haodong entered the room, she waved to Zhao Pu. Zhao Pu immediately understood and left, closing the door behind him. Qin Haodong's heart tightened. What was this woman going to do? Could it be that Her Majesty was using the same trick? Back in the Black Tortoise Palace, Queen Wu Yuanyang had used this trick to frame him. Your Highness, may I ask why you called me here? Qiao Yuhuan didn't say anything. She only smiled. Instantly, she was so charming that any man who saw her would feel their hearts flutter. This woman is really too charming. I really don't know why Li Guangyao chose her to be his concubine. She walked to Qin Haodong step by step, twisting her sexy body and turning around. Finally, she raised her hand and touched Qin Haodong's chin. Little guy, not bad. You have a deep cultivation. Qin Haodong took 2 steps back and asked with a panicked expression. I don't know what your highness means. Qiao Yuhuan giggled. You don't have to pretend in front of this old mother. In the Vermilion Bird Kingdom, he killed Li Tianxiong, Li Tianba and Li Tianqua, 3 masters of the Deshang stage. In the Little Azure Dragon City, he killed the 5th elder and 6th elder of the Ghost King sect. In the Sky Thunder Mountain, he snatched the Earth Vein Spirit fruit under the nose of the first prince. I have to say that your methods are indeed outrageous. You've done so many things to the Azure Dragon Royal family, and yet you still dare to come to the Azure Dragon Royal City, seducing that last Li Mingyao so much that her soul has left her body. Qin Haodong was shocked. He didn't expect this woman to know so much. What happened? How did he expose himself? Could it be that his disguise was not working? That was impossible. After a moment of absent-mindedness, he regained his composure. With his current strength, it was not a big deal even if he was seen through by the other party. At most, he could kill his way out of the Azure Dragon Palace. However, there was a trace of doubt in his heart. Since this woman had already seen through his identity, why didn't she expose it in front of Li Guangyao? Instead, she secretly invited him to the palace. Was this a trap for him, or did she have other intentions? Although he thought so, he still looked calm on the surface. Your Highness, I am just a doctor. I don't know what you mean. You are a doctor, but you are also Qin Haodong, the enemy of the Azure Dragon Royal family. Qiao Yuhuan said so, but the smile on her face became brighter. Little guy, don't pretend in front of me. It's useless. Well, since your Highness said so, I admit it. Qin Haodong said with a smile. But I am very curious. How did your Highness see through it? Could it be that my disguise has revealed a flaw? Qiao Yuhuan shook her head and said with a smile. No, your disguise is very good. It can pass off as real without any flaw. Qin Haodong said. Then what's the problem? Because I can feel the aura of the Black Demon Pearl on you. And there is more than one. Qiao Yuhuan said. Today I will give you 2 choices. Either hand over all the Black Demon Pearls to me, or I will expose your identity. With the hatred of the Azure Dragon Royal family towards you, as long as they know that you are Qin Haodong, I am afraid that you and your companions will not be able to leave this place alive. Qin Haodong was shocked. The Black Demon Pearl had always been in his storage ring. He did not know how this woman had sensed it. If he had known that this would happen, he would have directly stored it in the 7th Order Pagoda. Seeing that he was stunned and silent, Qiao Yuhuan seemed to be quite satisfied with the effect she had caused. She said with a smile, Which one are you going to choose? Qin Haodong said, Are you threatening me? Do I not have the right to threaten you? Qiao Yuhuan said, If I were you, I would obediently hand over the Black Demon Pearl. After all, that thing is of no use to you. In comparison, those 2 delicate beauties should be more worthy of your cherishing. Qin Haodong said with a smile, You are right. You really do not have the right to threaten me. Qiao Yuhuan was slightly stunned and then said, Boy, have you figured out what you are talking about? Once I reveal your identity, the Azure Dragon Royal family will never let you go. What awaits you will be 1,000 cuts. Qin Haodong said with a playful expression, But what if I reveal your identity? You are the 2nd elder of the Ghost King sect. Qiao Yuhuan's expression suddenly changed. She no longer had the coquettish look from before. She said coldly, Boy, what nonsense are you talking about? Am I wrong? Qin Haodong said with an indifferent expression, I have seen 8 of the 9 great elders of the Ghost King sect. Some of them even died in my hands. Only the 2nd elder has not been seen. Qiao Yuhuan said, What does that have to do with me? Qin Haodong said, Only the people of the Ghost King sect will do their best to obtain the Black Demon Pearl. Moreover, you are so clear about the situation of the Ghost King sect. It is obvious that you must be from the Ghost King sect. And you have reached the late stage of Dashang, which is a cultivation that only the second elder and the Ghost King sect master can reach. And the Ghost King sect master can't run here to be a queen. There is only one answer. You are the second elder of the Ghost King sect. He himself was quite shocked by this guess. No wonder the woman was shocked when she heard the news of the death of the fifth elder and the sixth elder. She was not happy at all. They were in cahoots. When the elders of the Ghost King sect came out, they all wore masks and did not show their true faces. It turned out that they all had different hidden identities. Take the second elder for example. Even Niu Tsuehua did not know her. It showed that her identity was deeply hidden. Yes, you are indeed very smart. You can even guess this. Speaking of this, Chao Yuhuan's expression suddenly became extremely sinister. But people who are too smart can never live long. In this world, except for the sect master, everyone who knows my identity is dead. You will be no exception. Qin Haodong was not flustered. If he met the second elder of the Ghost King sect a day ago, he would have to run away. But now it was different. They were both at the late Dashang stage, and he was invincible among his peers. Chao Yuhuan did not know this at all. She thought that she had the other party. Qin Haodong said, "What, are you going to kill me? Don't you want the black demon bead?" Chao Yuhuan said, "I can also get the black demon bead if I kill you." After that, she stretched out her hand and directly used the Ghost King sect's unique skill, the Nether Ghost Claw. A huge ghost claw grabbed at Qin Haodong's head. In her opinion, Qin Haodong, who was only at the early Dashang stage, was no match for her at all. He could only be obediently suppressed. Unexpectedly, Qin Haodong punched out and instantly broke the Nether Ghost Claw. The momentum of the confrontation between the two masters of the Dashang stage was amazing. The huge strength instantly rushed the surrounding palaces and collapsed the houses. Chao Yuhuan was shocked and hurriedly dodged back, but it was too late. Qin Haodong's fist did not stop after penetrating the Nether Ghost Claw, and the wind of the fist heavily hit her towering chest. She was hit and flew backward in an instant. She even heard the sound of her sternum breaking, and a large mouthful of blood sprayed out. Chao Yuhuan flew dozens of meters away and hit the pillar behind her. This punch had made her completely lose the ability to resist. She struggled to get up from the ground and exclaimed, You are also at the late Dashang stage? How is it possible? How did your cultivation improve so fast?" Qin Haodong sneered and said, "If you want to know, ask the King of Hell." Just as he was about to step forward and kill the second elder with one punch, a powerful momentum suddenly came from behind him. Outside the palace, there were also countless figures rushing in this direction. They came really fast. Qin Haodong did not want to be trapped. He jumped up and directly pierced a big hole in the roof, and then disappeared into the night. The chapter is out of order. Correct it. Chapter 10-12. As soon as Qin Haodong left, Li Guangyao appeared in the room. When he saw Chao Yuhuan, he exclaimed, "Yuhuan, what happened to you?" At that moment, Chao Yuhuan felt Qin Haodong's murderous intent and thought that she was doomed. Now that she came to her senses, she jumped into Li Guangyao's arms and said, "Your Majesty, I called Tang Long to the palace to see if he is a good match for Meng Yao, who knew that he would actually lust after my beauty. This concubine refused and was beaten to this state by him. You must help this concubine." Li Guangyao was furious. He said to the masters behind him, "Go get Tang Long and bring him back." The guards behind him immediately went out to catch Tang Long. After a while, they came back and said, "Your Majesty, Tang Long has escaped from the palace." Chao Yuhuan cried, "Your Majesty, go and catch him at the station. He must have gone back to find his woman." As the king of a country, Li Guangyao was almost cuckolded. How could he not be angry? He shouted, "Lock down the Azure Dragon Royal City and bring people to the station. Catch Tang Long even if you have to dig 3 feet into the ground." After giving the order, Li Guangyao rushed to the station angrily with the elders of the Azure Dragon Royal City. Unfortunately, they didn't even see a shadow when they arrived. Tang Long didn't come back. Tang Long had made enough preparations before entering the palace. Knowing that things were bad, he immediately left the Azure Dragon Royal City without hesitation. When the royal city was locked down, he was already standing on a hill outside the city with Niu Cuihua and He Ziwei. Niu Cuihua said, "I didn't expect that the second elder is the queen of the Azure Dragon Royal City." Qin Haodong nodded and said, "Your Ghost King sect has been the enemy of the four kingdoms for so many years. You do have your own uniqueness. No one would have thought that the queen of the Azure Dragon Kingdom would be the second elder of the Ghost King sect." He Ziwei said, "Husband, now that we have offended the royal family, what should we do next? Do we still enter the Medicine God Valley?" Qin Haodong said, "Of course. There are countless opportunities in an ancient relic like the Medicine God Valley. We can't let go of it." He Ziwei said worriedly, "But we have completely offended the royal family. I'm afraid it won't be easy to get in." Niu Cuihua smiled and said, "Sister Ziwei, you are really smart. We have already offended the royal family, but we still entered the Azure Dragon Royal City. At most, I'll ask my husband to change our appearances again. At that time, who would be able to recognize us?" Qin Haodong said, "You're right. We'll cross that bridge when we get there. Let's get ready now. We'll enter the Medicine God Valley sect in 2 days." With that, the three of them left the Azure Dragon Royal City and rushed to Azure Spirit Mountain. After arriving here, they saw a mountain towering into the clouds. In front of them was an empty valley. However, the valley was completely barren. There was not even a single blade of grass, let alone a single medicinal herb. As long as Qin Haodong he, Niu Cuihua said, "Of course not. The Medicine God Valley sect is an ancient forbidden land that only opens once every 100 years. It's not that easy to find before it opens." Qin Haodong said, "Don't worry about it. The Medicine God Valley is an ancient forbidden land that only opens once every 100 years." Qin Haodong said, "Don't worry about it. Countless people will come here to train." 2 days later, Qin Haodong changed their appearance. He disguised himself as a yellow-faced man. Niu Cuihua and He Ziwei were just ordinary women. 2 days later, Qin Haodong changed the appearances of the three of them. He disguised himself as a yellow-faced man, and Niu Cuihua and He Ziwei were not as beautiful as they looked. They were just ordinary women. 2 days later, Qin Haodong changed their appearance. He himself was a yellow-faced man. Niu Cuihua and He Ziwei were not as beautiful as they looked. They were just ordinary women. When they walked out of the 7th pagoda, the scene in front of them was completely different. The entire Qingling Mountain was crowded with cultivators. However, the valley in front of them was already surrounded by tens of thousands of Azure Dragon Kingdom soldiers, not allowing outsiders to take a single step inside. However, the valley in front of them was surrounded by tens of thousands of soldiers of the Azure Dragon Kingdom. Niu Cuihua said, "What's going on?" He Ziwei said, "It shouldn't be possible. The other 3 kingdoms wouldn't agree either." The cultivators around them were also discussing among themselves. They were furious at the Azure Dragon Kingdom's actions. Suddenly, a huge pressure rose from the valley. Li Guangyao, the king of the Azure Dragon Kingdom, rose into the air and stood in the air. Seeing the king of the Azure Dragon Kingdom, a late-stage Mahayana realm cultivator, the cultivators at the scene quieted down. "I am Li Guangyao of the Azure Dragon Kingdom. I have something to tell you." Li Guangyao's words were imbued with quintessential essence, and they were clearly delivered to everyone's ears. "The Medicine God Valley is about to open. Please don't misunderstand. The Azure Dragon Kingdom has no intention of monopolizing it." As soon as he said this, a tall, strong man shouted, "If you don't want to monopolize it, why don't you let us in?" "Warrior, don't be anxious. Listen to me slowly," Li Guangyao said. "Everyone knows that the Ghost King sect is the common enemy of the 4 kingdoms. Recently, the Ghost King sect's activities have become more and more rampant. There are traces of them in all 4 kingdoms. If I am right, The Ghost King sect will also send people to the opening of the Medicine God Valley. The Medicine God Valley belongs to the cultivators of the four kingdoms, and we will not allow the Ghost King sect to touch it. Therefore, the Azure Dragon Kingdom has sealed off this area. Anyone who wants to enter the Medicine God Valley must pass our inspection. Only those who have a clear identity can enter. So the Azure Dragon Kingdom is guarding against the Ghost King sect. That is understandable. I heard that the Ghost King sect has been on a rampage recently. Not only was the Vermilion Bird Spirit Water stolen, but also the Azure Dragon Spirit Water. The Ghost King sect has always been the enemy of the four kingdoms. It is time to teach them a lesson. Most of the people supported Li Guangyao's proposal, but there were also some who disagreed. Your Majesty, how will the Azure Dragon Kingdom conduct the inspection? Are we not allowed to enter if we are not related to the Azure Dragon Kingdom? Wouldn't that be unfair? Li Guangyao was prepared for this. He said, "We have discussed this with the White Tiger Kingdom, the Vermilion Bird Kingdom, and the Black Tortoise Kingdom." Everyone agreed and set up 4 inspection teams. Those who want to enter the Medicine God Valley sect, you can go to the inspection team of the kingdom you belong to. As long as you pass the inspection, you can enter the Medicine God Valley sect. He waved his hand, and the inspection team of the 4 kingdoms rose into the air and stood behind Li Guangyao. The inspection team of the Azure Dragon Kingdom was led by Huang Yuanqing, the principal of the Azure Dragon Academy, and Li Zhen. The inspection team of the White Tiger Kingdom was led by Wei Wentong, the principal of the White Tiger Academy, Shang Wenli, the principal of the Vermilion Bird Academy, and Luo Dongqing, the vice principal of the Black Tortoise Academy, was in charge of the inspection team of the White Tiger Kingdom. The principals of the White Tiger Kingdom and the Vermilion Bird Kingdom had both reached the late stage of the Great Vehicle Realm. Luo Dongqing was the weakest among them, only at the early stage of the Great Vehicle Realm. It was no wonder that the principal of the Black Tortoise Academy had been missing for so long. At the same time, he saw the little witch Luo Hongying, Murong Jinghong, and Tu Jiaojiao had also arrived at the Black Tortoise Kingdom. It seemed that they were going to participate in the trial of the Medicine God Valley sect. The people outside the valley saw that the 4 kingdoms had reached an agreement, and most of them had no objections. They were all from the 4 kingdoms of the Lingwu continent, and most of them could enter the Medicine God Valley sect through the inspection team of their own kingdom. A small number of people with shady identities wanted to object, but unfortunately, they were too few in number, and their strength was not enough to do anything. Niu Tsuehua said, "It seems that if we want to enter, we have to go through the Black Tortoise Kingdom. Their current identities and appearances were all fake, so it was almost impossible for them to enter the Medicine God Valley sect openly." Qin Haodong was from the Black Tortoise Academy and had a good relationship with Luo Dongqing. As long as he secretly revealed his identity, he should be able to enter. However, at that moment Li Guangyao said again, "This time, we are not only investigating the Ghost King sect, but also a thief named Qin Haodong. He colluded with the Ghost King sect and became the enemy of the 4 kingdoms. If anyone dares to let him into the Medicine God Valley sect, they will become the public enemy of the other 3 kingdoms." As soon as he said this, Qin Haodong said, "It seems that the Azure Dragon Kingdom is here for us. Their purpose is to keep us out of the Medicine God Valley sect, or to seize the opportunity to capture us." Easyway said, "Then what should we do? If we go to the Black Tortoise Kingdom, will we be in trouble?" "We can't go to the Black Tortoise Kingdom," Qin Haodong sneered. "Since the Azure Dragon Kingdom is playing dirty, then I will enter through them. Let's see what they will say then." Niu Tsuehua said, "Husband, do you have a plan?" Qin Haodong nodded. "Don't worry, just wait for me to enter the valley." The opening of the Medicine God Valley sect was getting closer and closer. The 4 inspection teams began to inspect the cultivators who came to the Medicine God Valley sect. Those who passed the inspection would immediately enter the Medicine God Valley sect and wait for the opening. The 4 kingdoms attached great importance to the opening of the Medicine God Valley sect. However, It was not appropriate for the kings to enter the Medicine God Valley sect in person, so they sent the presidents of the 4 major universities to lead the team. The presidents were surrounded by cultivators who had great potential in the Medicine God Valley sect, including students from the universities and nobles. On the side of the Black Tortoise Academy, Luo Dongqing led the inspection team. On the side of the Black Tortoise Kingdom, Princess Zhao Xingyue personally led the team. Behind her were the outstanding disciples of various nobles and nobles. The Little Witch and the others from the Black Tortoise Academy were all here. As the inspection began, the Little Witch and Zhao Xingyue stood together and stared at the crowd with their big eyes. Tu Jiaojiao came over and said to the two of them, "You don't need to look. Haodong will not enter through us." Zhao Xingyue said, "How is that possible? Other than the Black Tortoise Kingdom, where else can he get in?" Morong Jinghong said, "Jiaojiao is right. With Haodong's temperament, he would never drag our Black Tortoise Academy into this." The Little Witch scolded, "It's all those bastards from the Azure Dragon Kingdom's fault. How could they come up with such an idea to make things difficult for him?" Fang Qiong'er said, "Don't worry everyone. I believe that senior brother will be able to enter the Medicine God Valley sect. When has he ever disappointed us?" Correction, added one more chapter. Chapter 10:13. As time went by, more and more people entered the valley. These people either could prove to the inspection team that they were not from the Ghost King sect, or had enough evidence to prove their identities. There were also some evil cultivators and bandits. These people either couldn't prove their identities, or didn't dare to reveal their identities. In the end, they left quietly, and gave up the chance to enter the Medicine God Valley sect. Little Witch and the others watched for a long time, but Qin Haodong was nowhere to be seen. The inspection was over but none of the 4 teams had seen Qin Haodong. Zhao Xingyue said worriedly, "What's going on? Could it be that Brother Qin isn't coming?" Luo Dongqing said, "Forget it, don't think too much. The Medicine God Valley sect is about to open. Get ready and follow me." He had mixed feelings. From the bottom of his heart, he hoped that Qin Haodong could enter the Medicine God Valley sect to gain experience. However, he represented the Black Tortoise Academy and the Black Tortoise Kingdom. Other than the people from the Black Tortoise Academy, Li Zhen and Li Mingyao also stood on the side, trying to find Qin Haodong. They had made enough preparations here. As soon as they found Qin Haodong, they would kill him immediately. Unfortunately, the inspection was over, and they couldn't find the target. Li Mingyao said, "Brother, do you think he is too scared to come?" Li Zhen said, "Maybe. It seems that the advice I gave to father this time worked. At least we can keep him out of the Medicine God Valley sect. Otherwise, with this guy's insane strength, if he were to obtain opportunities in the Medicine God Valley, he would definitely become a great enemy of our Azure Dragon royal family." This idea was indeed put forward by him. Li Guangyao thought it was a good idea, so he joined forces with the other 3 kingdoms to control the Green Spirit Mountain. The main purpose of the Azure Dragon royal family was to capture Qin Haodong. Unfortunately, they couldn't achieve this goal. They could only keep some unknown people out. Seeing Li Mingyao's reluctance, Li Zhen said, "Forget it, don't worry. When we come out of the Medicine God Valley sect, our strength will be greatly improved. Sooner or later, we will tear this kid into pieces." At this moment, there was a commotion in the crowd. A huge light screen appeared in the valley. This was the entrance to the Medicine God Valley sect. It turned out that the Medicine God Valley sect was not located in the Lingwu continent. Instead, a portal would appear every 100 years. This portal would only open for a quarter of an hour. If one could not enter, they would have to wait another 100 years. The Medicine God Valley sect would only be open for 3 days at a time. After 3 days, regardless of whether one wanted to leave or not, one would be sent out by a mysterious force. Li Guangyao shouted, "All right, everyone can enter now." After he finished speaking, he looked around coldly. His purpose was to prevent anyone from taking advantage of the chaos. After obtaining permission, the cultivators flew up and hurriedly flew towards the space-time gate. The space-time gate was extremely mystical. As long as someone touched it, they would immediately be transported to another space. In the blink of an eye, more than half of the cultivators waiting in the valley were gone. The little she-devil scanned the empty valley. There were only a few cultivators who were not in a hurry to enter. But she still did not see Qin Haodong. Luo Dongqing said, "Well, let's go in first. We'll talk about that kid after we come out." Tu Jiaojiao followed and said, "Yeah, if we want to help Qin Haodong, we need to improve our strength. Only when we are strong enough can we help him more." After hearing her words, the girls no longer hesitated. Everyone held hands and flew towards the space-time gate together. After the people of the Black Tortoise Institute had also entered, only the people of the Azure Dragon Kingdom were left in the vast valley. Li Guangyao said to Huang Yuanqing, Li Zhen, Li Mengyao and the others, "Forget it. I think that brat is a coward. He won't dare to appear again. You guys hurry up and go in. Any later and it will be too late." Li Zhen raised his head and channeled his power to the surrounding mountains and shouted, "Qin Haodong, just you wait. When I come out of the Medicine God Valley sect, it will be the anniversary of your death." After saying that, he no longer hesitated and followed the people of the Azure Dragon Kingdom into the space-time gate. From Li Zhen's point of view, nothing would change. However, when he was about to touch the space-time gate, the scene in front of him suddenly changed. He was now on the top of the Qinglin Mountain, and the space-time gate was 1,000 meters away. Originally, he was with the people of the Azure Dragon royal family, but at this moment, a figure appeared beside Li Mengyao. That person was dressed in a green robe and had a strong body. Who else could it be but Qin Haodong? Bastard! Li Zhen was completely enraged. He never thought that Qin Haodong would suddenly appear at this time and take his place. Just as he was about to sound the alarm, Qin Haodong had already entered the space-time gate and disappeared in front of his eyes. "Bastard! I will make sure you die a horrible death when we reach the Medicine God Valley sect." After saying that, he flew towards the space-time gate. In his opinion, as long as he could meet up with Huang Yuanqing, he would be able to kill Qin Haodong in the Medicine God Valley sect. His flying speed was very fast, but in the end, he hit empty air and passed through the space-time gate. It turned out that the time was up, and the space-time gate was closed. He had completely missed the opportunity to enter the Medicine God Valley sect. "Qin, just you wait. I'll definitely tear you into pieces." Li Zhen's angry voice echoed in the sky above the Qingling Mountain. At this moment, Qin Haodong had already passed through the space-time gate. All of this was planned by him. After reaching the late stage of the Mahayana realm, his space displacement art could travel more than 2,000 meters. Therefore, he had already let Niu Tsuehua and He Ziwei enter the 7th stage pagoda. After choosing a position, his primordial spirit locked onto Li Zhen, who was in the valley. Just as the people of the Azure Dragon royal family were about to enter the space-time gate, he suddenly changed Li Zhen's position and entered the Medicine God Valley sect in Li Zhen's place. Moreover, he did not hide anything this time. He directly removed the disguise on his face and revealed his true appearance. This way, he could wash away the suspense of the Black Tortoise Kingdom and give the Azure Dragon Kingdom a slap in the face. Obviously, this move was out of everyone's expectation, including Li Guangyao, who was in the late stage of the Mahayana realm. His face was burning, and his expression was extremely ugly. He completely did not expect that Qin Haodong would enter the Medicine God Valley sect in such a way. The Azure Dragon Kingdom had sent out tens of thousands of troops and prepared for so long. But in the end, they were defeated with one move. They did not have any effect at all. Before this, he was still clamoring that if anyone dared to let Qin Haodong enter the Medicine God Valley sect, they would be the public enemy of the other 3 kingdoms. But now, Qin Haodong had entered the space-time gate with the Azure Dragon royal family. What could he say? Qin Haodong could not see any of this. After passing through the space-time gate, he appeared in the sky above a clear lake. Originally, he was tense and ready to fight at any moment. However, there was no one around him. The people of the Azure Dragon royal family had all been teleported to an unknown place. No wonder those powerful people entered the space-time gate hand in hand. It was so that they would not be separated during the teleportation process. However, this was also good. It saved him a lot of trouble. With a thought, he released Niu Tsuehua and He Ziwei from the 7th stage pagoda. Wow, it's so beautiful here. After the two girls came out, they were immediately attracted by the scenery. This place was indeed very beautiful. It was like a paradise on earth. The mountains were clear, and the water was clear. The green grass was like a cushion. Most importantly, the spirit chi was extremely dense. It was not much different from the 7th floor of the 7th stage pagoda. It gave people the urge to cultivate immediately. No wonder it was called the Medicine God Valley sect. Only a paradise like this could cultivate supreme-grade spirit herbs. He Ziwei crossed her arms in front of her chest and said with a sigh, "This is really a good place. If only we could live here forever." Niu Tsuehua said, "That's not possible. The Medicine God Valley sect is only open for 3 days. After 3 days, everyone will be kicked out. Let's hurry up and find spirit herbs," Qin Haodong said as he spread out his powerful primordial spirit. However, he found that this place was very big, and he could not see the end of it. The three of them slowly flew forward, searching for spirit herbs as they flew. This place was indeed worthy of being called the Medicine God Valley sect. Spirit herbs that were hard to find outside could be seen everywhere. Qin Haodong's heart was filled with joy. He kept sending spirit herbs into the 7th stage pagoda. Just as he was about to dig up a mature Ganoderma, he smelled a faint aroma. Niu Tsuehua sniffed and said, "What is it that smells so good?" He Ziwei said, "This smell is a bit familiar." Qin Haodong said, "This is the aroma of the earth vein spirit fruits when they are about to ripen. Let's go and have a look." The three of them flew toward the direction of the aroma. There were 3 red earth vein spirit fruits on top of a small hill. Each of them bore 5 fruits. Qin Haodong didn't expect that the earth vein spirit fruits, which were extremely rare in the Lingwu continent, could be found everywhere in the Medicine God Valley sect. Niu Tsuehua exclaimed, "I didn't expect there to be so many." Qin Haodong took a look and found that the fruits were not fully ripe yet. It seemed that he would have to wait for another hour or 2. Just as he was about to speed up the ripening of the earth vein spirit fruits, he suddenly heard the sound of sword chi piercing through the air. Then 4 form synthesis stage cultivators arrived. The leader of the 4 was a man with a big beard. He had reached the peak of the form synthesis stage. When he saw the 3 earth vein spirit fruits, his eyes lit up. Then he laughed out loud. "Kid, you are lucky to find so many earth vein spirit fruits at once." A long-haired cultivator next to him said, "Big brother, you are wrong. We are the lucky ones. We found so many earth vein spirit fruits at once. And there are 2 pretty girls." As the man spoke, his eyes wandered between He Ziwei and Niu Tsuehua. "You are right." He glared at Qin Haodong and said, "Did you hear that? Get out of here, and leave these 2 girls here." Qin Haodong was speechless. There were idiots every year, but not this year. How dare a form synthesis stage cultivator act so arrogantly in front of him? With his current level of cultivation, he could kill these people with a snap of his fingers. Seeing the arrogance of these people, He Ziwei said angrily, "We found these earth vein spirit fruits first. What does it have to do with you?" The bearded man looked at He Ziwei up and down. He said with a smile, "You are right. These things are yours, but you will soon belong to me. Isn't it the same?" Niu Tsuehua stopped He Ziwei, who was about to lose her temper. She twisted her sexy body and said, "Sir, are you going to take me away?" Seeing her mature charm, the bearded man was about to drool. "Yes, I like mature women like you," the bearded man said, and reached out to touch Niu Tsuehua's face. But as soon as he stretched out his hand, he flew backward like a cannonball and fell to the ground dead. The first elder of the Ghost King sect was not someone anyone could flirt with. After killing the bearded man with a slap, Niu Tsuehua still had a charming smile on her face. She turned to the other 3 people and said, "Who else likes me?" You're tuning in to the Lee May's Sword of Destiny YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.